Chapter 541 Forearm Earth King. Chapter 541, Forearm Earth King. Very soon, Lu Lan and the rest started to feel a pressure as heavy as a mountain. Not good, the enemy has gone crazy, we won't be able to hold on for long. Black Banner troops, come over to reinforce us quick. Pei Yanfei, Zhang Feiyu, Tang Miaoming, you guys also come over to protect Wolf King. We cannot continue to defend passively like this, we need to take the initiative to attack. Otherwise, the residual force of the battle will still endanger Wolf King. Ma tribe was absolutely not resigned to losing. If they lost, they would be completely finished. They began to stake their lives, the heavy rewards alluring them to brave dangers. The situation quickly escaped out of Lu Lan's control and the battlefield soon changed into attacking and defending Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan's safety and danger directly concerned the result of this battle. The enemy rank 4 GU masters and rank 5 GU masters all rushed over, creating a huge chaotic scene. This was a majestic spectacle that was rarely seen in the former imperial court contests. In the battle rings, rank 4 GU masters were already reduced to a supporting role. Even rank 5 experts could not act freely and were in a risky situation. Lu Lan, Yi Luisang and others had still been paying some attention to Wolf King at first. But soon, they were finding it difficult to protect themselves. Surrounding them were flames, ice and snow, sound waves and all sorts of attacks that flew chaotically among the battle rings. The enemy did not remain in a fixed place, fighting anyone they met. There were times they even attacked their own people. The number 1 assassin Wu Ming stood at a distance, helplessly looking at the giant chaotic battle ring. He was an assassin, an expert at getting close while hiding before striking the fatal attack. But right now, the battleground had become so chaotic with all GU masters attacking madly, all kinds of investigative GU worms scanning around, and GU masters killing anybody they came across. The situation was already out of control, the offense too overwhelming, and some rank 4 GU masters had already become hysterical to protect themselves. Wu Ming was doubtful, if he entered stealthily, he might be discovered within a few breaths of time. It might even be his own people who might attack him in the heat of the moment. Even if I don't make a move, Wolf King will find it hard to keep his life in such a situation. Wu Ming smiled coldly and kept on watching the show. Soon, his eyes brightened and saw a rank 4 GU master of his side moving towards Wolf King from the side. Cheng Hu. When he saw the person clearly, Wu Ming almost shouted in excitement. Someone had struck Cheng Hu from behind and sent him flying towards Fang Yuan. Previously, Fang Yuan had Bian Xizan guarding him from the side. But just moments ago, Bian Xizan had taken the initiative to draw away the encroaching Fei Shengcheng. She was not a defensive GU master and also did not have any intention to sacrifice her life for Fang Yuan, thus she felt that was the most sensible choice. Which scoundrel sneak attacked me? Cheng Hu fell on the ground and immediately stood up, furiously roaring before turning around and charging towards the direction he came from. Wu Ming did not know what to say at this scene. However, Cheng Hu had only walked 5-6 steps when suddenly he seemed to have been struck by a body immobilization spell as he stopped on the spot. He furiously turned around and rigidly stared at Fang Yuan who was within his reach. After few breaths of being dazed, he finally came back to his senses. The guys who sneak attacked me, I really love you. Ha ha ha. Cheng Hu's pores opened up in excitement and looked at Fang Yuan like he was looking at 5 million battle merits and endless fame and fortune. Grr. He pounced forward, his limbs instantly transformed into a gorgeous tiger the moment he landed. Transformation path killer move, slant-eye tiger roared, a reeking wind pounced towards Fang Yuan. Damn it, hide quickly, Bian Xizan glanced back and involuntarily screamed. Success. Wu Ming felt his blood pumping and his body shivering with excitement. The tiger opened its bloody mouth, leapt to the air and pounced down. The huge shadow shrouded over Fang Yuan's face. The tiger's sharp teeth was almost closing at his head. I had not thought such a heaven-shaking contribution will fall to my hands. The tiger's eyes suddenly flashed with a shocked look. A pair of large hands grabbed the tiger's neck, immobilizing it. HMPH. Cheng Hu snorted inwardly, his many years of battle experience and insight allowed him to quickly slash with his 2 sharp claws. Thud. A muffled sound echoed. The next moment, the 2 tiger claws were separately grabbed by 2 metallic hands. Where did these hands come from? Cheng Hu gazed with bewilderment and saw Fang Yuan's cold gaze and tranquil as ice face, and 2 bronze arms that had grown from his sides since some unknown time ago. The 2 bronze hands firmly grabbed Cheng Hu's tiger claws. HMPH. Cheng Hu snorted and immediately used his tail as well. The tail lashed through the air, forming a fierce whip shadow that was agile and tricky as it smashed towards Fang Yuan's head. Slam! A clear sound echoed. There was not the slightest of injuries on Fang Yuan's head, but instead it was the tiger tail that had turned numb from the pain and lost its control. Cheng Hu had a killer move, Fang Yuan similarly possessed a killer move. Killer move, Forearm Earth King. There were no less than 14 GU worms used for this killer move, including rank 5 Amplify Effect GU. In such a state, Fang Yuan's defense had increased by over 4 times. His strength reaching 800 Jun. Moreover, when he was touching the ground, his strength would keep on increasing without end. Have you played enough? Fang Yuan gave a cold smile, looking calmly at Cheng Hu, his gaze carrying a ridiculing and cold intent. An intense coldness rose from Cheng Hu's heart before quickly spreading over his whole body. Fear. Even if Cheng Hu was usually carefree and took his bravery as an honor, right now as he looked at Fang Yuan's dark and cold eyes, he felt fear. The intense fear caused him to erupt with strength. The tiger moved its throat, preparing a sound wave attack. However, at this moment, Fang Yuan gave a soft sigh. Such a boring trick sigh, it is better for you to die. His voice was tranquil and light, as if he was talking of an insignificant thing. Pshhh. The next moment, the bronze hands exerted strength and pulled. The gorgeous tiger was ripped into 2 halves, fresh blood splattered and internal organs fell down to the ground. 2 irregular tiger part fell down to the ground and transformed back to 2 halves of a human. And the tiger head turned back to Cheng Hu's head, his eyes were wide open in fear, completely revealing the fear of death. Fang Yuan grabbed Cheng Hu's skull and slowly raised his head, his gaze traversing through everyone and landed on Yang Po-ying. The hair all over Yang Po-ying's body stood on their end, an intense sense of danger was rising in his heart. Fang Yuan flapped his eagle wings and flew to the sky. Yang Po-ying's pupils shrunk, immediately mobilizing the Thunder Eagle group to protect him. Fang Yuan smiled in disdain. Do you think you can block me with just these beasts with rank 4 battle strength? Hee hee. Bam bam bam. He directly charged straight ahead. The Thunder Eagles in his way were forcefully smashed into pieces. By the time the GU masters in the chaotic battlefield reacted, Fang Yuan had already charged through the Thunder Eagle group like a hot knife cutting through butter and reached Yang Po-ying. Yang Po-ying's face lost all blood as he looked at Fang Yuan with extreme fear. Fang Yuan lifted him by his head, his whole body not even able to resist the slightest bit. Fang Yuan lightly clenched his hand. Crack! Fang Yuan burst Eagle King Yang Po-ying's head as easily as bursting a watermelon. Blood and brain matter splattered, and the eagle group instantly crumbled apart. The eagle group flew away back to the sunny sky. The enormous commotion attracted countless people. What? Wolf King personally killed Eagle King? A lot of people shouted incredulously at this sight. Now, it is your turn. Fang Yuan did not stop, his cold gaze landing on Ma Xun. They were separated by 10,000 steps of distance and he was protected by the majestic horse group, but Ma Xun still felt a terror as if a calamity was descending upon him. Block him. Kill Wolf King. Wu Yi and Shi Shui flew together and pincer attacked Fang Yuan. A bunch of trash wants to block me. Fang Yuan snorted in disdain, he flapped his 2 wings and easily shook away Shi Shui, directly charging towards Wu Yi. Wu Yi had never expected Fang Yuan to be so violent. He overestimated his own defense while also underestimating Fang Yuan's fierce offensive. The defensive light barrier only held for half a breath of time before collapsing apart. Wu Yi immediately sensed danger and with his master-level flying skill, he was able to make a dodging movement which others simply could not do. If it were others, they might only be able to let him escape, but Fang Yuan was similarly a flying master. Bang! A dull sound echoed, half of Wu Yi's body was smashed into paste with bones fracturing into pieces and internal organs of half his body bursting apart. His eyes were wide open as he fell down from the sky. A generation's flying master, a demonic path expert had perished. Fang Yuan moved on towards Ma Xun without even glancing at Wu Yi. Roar! A dragon roar echoed like a thunder, and an enormous dragon blocked Fang Yuan's way. This giant dragon had golden horn, 3 claws and dragon eyes which were burning like lanterns, revealing the flames of revenge. Chongshan Yin. You dared to kill my younger brother, you shall pay the most bitter price for this. This person was a rank 5 expert of transformation path, Cheng Hu's big brother, Cheng Long. Noisy earthworm. Fang Yuan snorted and increased his speed, leaving behind an afterimage in the air as he fiercely smashed into the giant dragon. Boom! The explosive sound of the collision was deafening. The sound wave spread to all directions, resounding through the sky and earth. Hearts trembled as countless gazes fixed at the distant, looking at Fang Yuan, whose body had inflated by 2 times and was covered in a bronze luster, his forearms thicker than a grown man's thighs. He stood proudly in the air, grabbing a broken dragon horn. While the 3-clawed golden giant dragon fell down to the ground like a puppet with its strings cut. It fiercely smashed into the ground, creating a giant pit with dragon blood and dragon scales splattering all around. What? Ma Shangfeng's pupils rapidly shrunk as he blurted out involuntarily, not daring to believe the reality. Even Cheng Long could not take one move from him. This killer move. He Lu Lan absent-mindedly looked at Fang Yuan, seeing the reflection of Lu tribe's 3 brothers, 3 heads 6 arms killer move. Ma Zun, I, Wolf King, will take your life. Fang Yuan lightly said, his voice traveling across the battlefield. His calm tone was like he was once again speaking of insignificant matter. But to everyone else, his words had a feeling of being unrivaled. Uncle Ma Zun, leave quickly. I will block him. Ma tribe's young tribe leader Ma Yingjia shouted from Ma Zun's side. The other GU master guards also started persuading. Wolf King is very fierce, we cannot face him head-on. Lord and young tribe leader, please leave, we will hold him back. Chibi General, this killer move is way better, you don't have to fuse with other men's bodies. Chapter 542 Dual Cultivating 2 Paths. Chapter 542, Dual Cultivating 2 Paths. People all around Ma Zun kept on persuading strongly. Ma Zun's expression was ashen as he resolutely refused. No, my Ma tribe only has warriors who will fight to death, not cowards who will run away. I am a symbol of Ma tribe, it will be a heavy impact to our army's morale if I run away. I cannot leave, we have yet to lose, I still have my Pegasus group. With a shift of his mind, the Pegasus flew into the air like clouds. These grand beasts had snow-white fur, their mane fluttered in the wind as they unfolded their pure white wings. These Pegasus were Ma tribe's pride. A grand feeling emerged in Ma tribesmen's hearts as they looked at these Pegasus, the feelings of fear quickly calmed down. Right, we still have Pegasus. Ah! Ma Yingjia was speaking, when suddenly he exclaimed in shock and terror. Fang Yuan was shooting towards them like a meteor, fiercely crashing through the Pegasus group without any intent to dodge. The Pegasus which had rank 4 battle strength were smashed through, their blood spurting high. The horse group neighed in panic, their pure white feathers helplessly drifted in the air as their corpse fell down to the ground. Fang Yuan moved straight through Pegasus group and reached above Ma Zun and the group with none able to block him. Ma Zun was stunned, the GU masters beside opened their mouth wide as they looked at Fang Yuan, their heart filled with extreme shock, helplessness and fear. Fang Yuan's ghostly figure deeply imprinted itself in the depths of their heart, never to be forgotten. No, I have not lost yet. Ma Zun freaked out and was about to use his killer move when he was blocked by Ma Yingjia. Uncle, let me do it. Once you use this killer move, your cultivation will fall. Ma tribe can lose me, but it can never lose you. Ma Yingjia shouted, his gaze filled with determination. Yingjia, Ma Zun's body shook, he looked at this junior whom he appreciated and was most hopeful about, and felt his will to fight to the death. Ma Zun did not want his nephew to sacrifice for him. But just like Ma Yingjia said, Ma tribe could lose Ma Yingjia, but it needed him, Ma Zun, to command horse group. The eagle group had crumbled apart now and the rat group could not be counted on. If they lose the horse group as well, Ma tribe's defeat will be certain. Also, my death is not certain. Uncle, leave quickly. Ma Yingjia turned solemn, mobilizing his primeval essence into several GU worms. Killer move, Dragon Horse Spirit. This was a killer move that was specially prepared for them by Snowy Mountain's demonic path GU Immortal Shui Songzi. Nay nay, many horses beside Ma Yingjia raised their front legs and gave desperate and crazy neighs. Large amount of blood seeped out of their body, they fell down one after another as they lost their life. But at the same time, diverse and gorgeous horse souls resembling rainbows pierced out of the corpses. Mutated horse souls, Fang Yuan's pupils slightly shrunk. Normal souls were simply impossible to be detected by ordinary people. But these horse souls had a pair of coral-like dragon horns on their head and were also of every size, as if they were alive, and they also shone with all kinds of colors, only the blind would not be able to see them. Dragon horses floated up and charged towards Fang Yuan in a very fast speed. Fang Yuan flew away, pulling apart some distance while also making probing attacks. These horse souls were troublesome because they were souls. Ordinary physical attacks had no effect on them. At the same time, their self-destruction had the power equal to the soul explosion of the previous shark fin wolf. Fang Yuan's killer move was strong, but it was not a soul path killer move, If 3 horse souls self-destructed at the same time, he would not be able to endure it. After all, his soul cultivation was still at 1,000-man soul. But why would I face you head-on? Fang Yuan scoffed and slowly landed on the ground. He was not simply a pure strength path GU master, he still had enslavement path methods. Next moment, wolf smoke surged and healed the wolves beside him. Wolf howl resounded, raising the wolves' battle strength by several times. The wolves then charged towards Ma Yingjia and Ma Zun like hungry sharks. Damn it! Ma Yingjia immediately experienced Fang Yuan's insidiousness and unscrupulousness. He had sacrificed large numbers of horses beside him to form into mutated horse souls for the killer move, Dragon Horse Spirit. But Fang Yuan did not face his horse souls, instead sending his wolf group to death. The wolves used their lives to wear down the horse souls' strength, and the mutated horse souls started becoming dimmer as they defended against the wolf group's fierce attacks, some dispersed and some self-destructed. Large numbers of wolves died in exchange for a sharp reduction of the horse souls. Fang Yuan was displaying the essence of the enslavement path to the extreme. Enslavement path GU masters used cannon fodder to exhaust the enemy's precious strength. For example, consuming their primeval essence, and right now, it was to perish along with the horse souls. Ma Yingjia could do nothing to Fang Yuan. Mutated horse souls were strong, but after slaughtering so many wolves in such a short period of time, they were now powerless to be of any threat to Fang Yuan. Uncle, leave, you are our Ma tribe's hope, leave quickly. Ma Yingjia shouted, persuading Ma Zun to leave again. Ma Zun's cheeks streamed with tears, his heart filled with pain, hatred, anger and hesitation. He gritted his teeth to the point of almost breaking them, but in the end, under the urging of his rationality, he slowly moved his body and led a group of horses, leaving Ma Yingjia and retreating towards Ma tribe camp. Fang Yuan immediately sensed Ma Zun's movement. Ma Zun was an enslavement path master, 100 times more significant than Ma Yingjia. Fang Yuan immediately flapped his wings and flew to the sky. He gave up on Ma Yingjia and began to chase Ma Zun. Wolf King, don't leave. Ma Yingjia hurriedly mobilized horse souls to fly into the sky to intercept Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan coldly smiled in disdain and made an exquisite turn in the air, throwing all the horse souls behind him. He was a flying master while these mutated horse souls were no more than Ma Yingjia's puppets. Looking at Fang Yuan rushing towards them with killing intent, the GU master guards beside Ma Zun immediately became fearful. With no choice, Ma Zun also used the killer move, Dragon Horse Spirit. Under his control, mutated horse souls formed into a tight defense line. Their might was much more than what Ma Yingjia showed. Even if Fang Yuan had flying master achievement, it would be difficult for him to break through. Roar! A dragon roar resonated at this moment. An enormous shadow shrouded over Fang Yuan. The 3-clawed, golden horn giant dragon once again charged at Fang Yuan. Cheng Long had been defeated in one move by Fang Yuan and had fallen down to the ground miserably. He had barely crawled out of the hole when he was attacked by several enemies, and after spending all his strength to thwart and beat away these obstacles, he chased after Fang Yuan in rage, to take revenge. You actually came to send yourself to death. Fang Yuan coldly smiled, not in the least moved as he looked at the dragon claws that were rapidly approaching him with an invincible might. The eagle wings on his back flapped and he easily brushed past the dragon claws. Relying on his exquisite flying skill, he made the giant dragon go circles around him. Not good, I am not Wolf King's match in the air. Cheng Long soon realized his disadvantage, but it was already late. Fang Yuan grabbed this gap to fly to the dragon head. His 2 bronze arms ruthlessly pounded on the 2 eyes of the giant dragon like a battle spear or a sharp sword. The dragon eyes burst and blood splashed in all directions. The giant dragon immediately went mad, roaring miserably due to the intense pain. Fang Yuan was splashed all over with scarlet blood, but he did not stop. He gave a sinister smile and continued piercing deep into the eyes with his 2 hands, directly attacking the brain membrane. While his other 2 hands smashed at the dragon head like a heavy hammer. Bang bang bang, huge sounds echoed out again and again as Fang Yuan continued to hammer at the dragon head like pounding on a war drum. The giant dragon started falling down, it struggled with mad fervor and its long tail twisted into a braid. Stones and mud flew, and the dragon tail lashed out, sending both humans and beasts flying. Fang Yuan did not stop his attack, he continued to pound for 20 to 30 times and was finally satisfied when the dragon head was thoroughly smashed into pieces. White brain matter and blood spurted upon his whole body. He took a deep breath, the intense odor of blood instead making him feel satisfied. Especially when he looked silently at this giant dragon corpse that he had conquered. Man, no matter which world they live in, all lives to conquer the enemy, conquer themselves, Fang Yuan sighed with emotion. Although the dragon had already died, the dragon corpse had not transformed back, one could see how profound Cheng Long's achievement in transformation path was. His head was quite tough, but he was no more than an impulsive fool. Fang Yuan lightly commented before looking towards Ma Xun again. He even killed Cheng Long. Is this still Wolf King? Wasn't he an enslavement path master? The scene of Fang Yuan stepping on the corpse shocked many. Most of them simply did not dare to believe their own eyes. How could Wolf King change from an enslavement path master into such a fierce warrior that rampaged in the battlefield? Meanwhile, the wolf group howled and charged waves after waves without any pause, showing Fang Yuan's exquisite beast-controlling skill. Ma Xun's face was pale, his primeval essence was gradually exhausted as he kept on maintaining the killer move, Dragon Horse Spirit. The mutated horse souls had formed a tight defensive battle formation, the wolf group throwing their lives as they charged forward waves after waves. Fang Yuan remained unmoved at these sacrifices, only sneering inwardly. Now, let me show you the true power of dual cultivation in enslavement and strength path. With a shift of his mind, the wolf group immediately changed their offensive pattern, dividing into several groups and breaking forward like sharp cones. The mutated souls, battle formation was unavoidably pulled apart. As the defensive line became thinly spread, Fang Yuan took the initiative to launch an assault. Ma Xun felt a chill in his heart and promptly maneuvered the mutated horse souls to intercept Fang Yuan, but this caused the defensive line to turn chaotic. Fang Yuan laughed and changed the direction of his assault while making the wolf group charge ahead by 300 steps. Ma Xun blocked left and right, soon being unable to hold off the attacks. If he guarded against Fang Yuan's assault, the wolf group would be free to charge forward. If he defended against the wolf group, he would not be able to guard against Fang Yuan. After several rounds, Fang Yuan saw a gap and fiercely charged towards Ma Xun. The first strike broke Ma Xun's defensive barrier, the second punch seriously injured Ma Xun and the third punch killed this famous enslavement path master. Ma Xun died, the horse group crumbled apart and Ma tribe's army's morale lowered to the abyss. If I had not seen it personally, I would never have believed this. Horse King actually died by enslavement path master Wolf King's beheading the leader tactic. Wolf King concealed himself too deeply, he actually cultivated both enslavement and strength path. He simply does not need to fear beheading the leader tactics. How can we deal with such an enslavement path master? Chibi General, and even if you beat him, he can still time travel for round 2. Chapter 543 Victory has been decided. Chapter 543 Victory has been decided. Translator. Chibi General. Editor. Chibi General. The terrifying strength Fang Yuan displayed inflicted heavy pressure on everyone in Ma tribe army. Despair was quickly spreading in their heart. Now, we can only rely on Rat King, only the rat group can contend against the wolf group. Ma Shangfeng's face was ashen, Ma Xun's death made him feel like he had fallen into an ice cave. But he was Ma tribe leader, and under this desperation, he looked towards Zhang Baoya's direction. However, the next moment, the only hope left in Ma Shangfeng's eyes was also obliterated. Rat King had actually fled. Heavens, this Wolf King is a monster. Eagle King, Horse King, Cheng Long, Cheng Hu and Wu Yi were all killed by him. Will I be able to survive if I don't run away now? Blood flowed out of all 7 facial orifices of Zhang Baoya as he ran away. He could not do anything about this, he had sworn the poison vow when he joined Ma tribe army. Now that he was deserting in the battle, he naturally suffered the backlash of the poison vow. But Zhang Baoya wanted to retreat even if he had to risk the backlash. Fang Yuan's terrifying performance had already completely obliterated all will to battle in his heart. Rat King, return right now, Ma Shangfeng shouted. But Zhang Baoya ignored him and ran madly. The blood from his 7 facial orifices was dyeing the path, showing his determination to run. His fleeing attracted the people around him and soon, a large number of Ma tribe GU masters began to retreat with large number of tribes gathering their forces as they retreated from the battlefield. One really shouldn't rely on outsiders. Ma Shangfeng spurted out a large mouthful of blood before he blacked out and fainted. Ma tribe army was utterly crushed, the situation was set. Despite having the snowman elite troops, they could not turn around the situation. GU master experts also started to retreat one after another. I almost had to break my seal and use my true martial physique to fight. Luckily, in a battle ring, He Lu Lan, who had been attacked from all around, was gasping, his body full of injuries and his primeval essence heavily depleted, but the ominous glint in his eyes was becoming colder and sharper. Under his order, He tribe army began a ruthless hunt. The more they killed, the more battle merits they would obtain. Even a fool understood this. Fame and fortune incited He tribe army to be like brutal famished wolves. At first, the elite troops were covering Ma tribe's retreat, but soon He tribe's elite troops rushed to them and pinned them down. Ma tribe army had thoroughly collapsed and countless people were escaping to all directions. Fang Yuan did not move, instead calling the wolf group to protect him. Heavy internal bleeding, soul has been weakened to 500-man soul. Fang Yuan inspected his body, swallowing the blood in his mouth as waves after waves of dizziness attacked him. His 2 bronze arms quietly disappeared. The repercussions of 4-arm Earth King killer move was much more serious than what he had expected. The several experiments before only scratched the surface. Now that I used it to its extreme, even going beyond the theorized time limit, a problem has occurred. Sure enough, genuine knowledge comes from practice. Killer move was an exquisite coordination between GU worms. But a killer move was not perfected by just planning it. Only by putting it into practice and revising it continuously, could the killer move be perfected. And this process to perfect it could last a very long time, lasting generations and even over 10 generations of continuous deductions and adjustments. 4-arm Earth King was a result of Fang Yuan using his 500 years of experience along with a moment of inspiration. It was made in a hurry and was still in experimental phase. Fang Yuan was soon able to understand what caused such heavy repercussions. It is the rank 5 Earth Overlord GU. This killer move was originally based on ground fight. The longer one is touching the ground, the lighter the repercussions. But I was flying almost all the time in this battle. Thus, this problem was exposed. It seems 4-arm Earth King killer move has a lot of shortcomings. From this battle, I can see flying is much more convenient than charging Crash GU, and possesses much higher threat to enemies. Since I have master level attainment in flying, I should make full use of this superiority. He was not willing to give up flying, so the 4-arm Earth King killer move had to be greatly altered. Fang Yuan sat on the aged Night Wolf Emperor, quietly pondering while looking at the wanton slaughtering by He tribe army. Damn, it's still vigilant, not giving me even a little chance. Assassin Wu Ming was hiding in a distance while observing Fang Yuan. He had been thinking of taking advantage of Wolf King's negligence after the battles, to sneak attack him. If he succeeded and killed Wolf King, Ma tribe would still have a chance to regroup and make a comeback. But Fang Yuan did not give him any opportunity, almost as if he saw through his plan. Wu Ming waited for a while more, but because of He tribe experts moving about more frequently nearby, he could not endure anymore and quietly retreated. Ma tribe was fleeing in defeat, and while they were fleeing, Ma tribe leader Ma Shangfeng woke up. He was still not resigned, and after they fled to the defense line, he tried to hold on by relying on the defense line. But Tai Bai Yun Sheng's mountain as before GU wrecked his plan. He tribe army broke through the defense line. Pan Ping used his soul blade GU and luckily managed to get Ma Shangfeng's head in the chaotic battle. With Ma tribe leader's death, Ma tribesmen no longer had the will to battle. Dao tribe, Yang tribe and Qi Lian tribe surrendered one after another. The surrendering process unavoidably attracted most of He tribe's attention. Move faster, faster, faster. Zhao Lianyun was urging from inside the carriage. Fei Kai was taking the coachman position and used all his strength to lash at the horse. The carriage's 2 wheels moved at a rapid speed. Fei Kai was Ma Yingjia's head servant, and being in charge of Ma tribe's young tribe leader's everyday life, he naturally had to accompany Ma Yingjia to the battle. Zhao Lianyun was homeless and so could only follow behind him. Ma tribe was defeated. These 2 and other mortals also fled for their lives. However, just relying on the horsepower, the carriage's speed simply could not surpass a GU master. While they escaped, they were thrown far behind by GU masters. But because Fei Kai and Zhao Lianyun were mortals, the army chasing after Ma tribe army let them go. The battle merits in killing mortals were next to nothing. Of course, if they encountered GU masters in a bad mood or those who liked to kill or wolves who did not care if they were mortals, just 1 or 2 casual moves from either of these could send them to their grave. However, Fei Kai and Zhao Lianyun's luck were really good. Not only did they not encounter such situation, they were actually able to smoothly escape out of the battlefield under countless GU masters' eyes. The 2 put in all their efforts in escaping. The old horse pulling the carriage foamed in exhaustion and finally fell on the grassland. The carriage overturned soon after and broke apart. Fei Kai and Zhao Lianyun broke out of the broken carriage in a miserable state. Although they were injured, it was not serious because of the soft grassland. Now where should we go? Fei Kai was indecisive. they were in a vast land without any soldiers or GU masters chasing them. Zhao Lianyun panted heavily without replying, she was also feeling flustered and helpless. Wolf King Changshanyan, there is actually such a terrifying monster in this world. Damn it, if I had known you were this fierce, why would I persuade father to travel so far to side with Ma tribe? As she thought of Fang Yuan's terrifying figure rampaging in the midst of innumerable troops, Zhao Lianyun's body and mind trembled. Remembering her father who had died in the battlefield, their current homeless situation and the ruthlessness of fate, Zhao Lianyun began to weep in grief. Xiaoyun, don't cry, don't worry, I am still here. Fei Kai immediately comforted her. Zhao Lianyun buried her head in her knees and cried even louder. Fei Kai panicked as he comforted and apologizes repeatedly, cutting out a very clumsy figure. Zhao Lianyun cried for a while, then suddenly raised her head. What's the use of your apology? I am really miserable, how could I come to such a world? Now our situation is desperate with nothing to eat or even drink. At night, the bloody odor on the battlefield will attract groups after groups of beasts to forage. Sooner or later, we will starve to death, die of thirst or even freeze to death. Then what should we do? Fei Kai looked at Zhao Lianyun with an expression that was seeking help. Zhao Lianyun rolled her eyes and furiously shouted, you are really trash. You are older than me, can't you think of something? You want me to think of everything, do you think I am Dongfang Yu Liang? Fei Kai lowered his head after being scolded, only daring to look at his feet. Suddenly, he raised his head with bright eyes. I have thought of a good way. Ah, what way? Zhao Lianyun raised her brows in amazement, this fool had actually thought of a way. I feel that as long as we have a horse, we can escape far away from the battlefield. With no odor of blood, we will be able to avoid the beasts. Zhao Lianyun fiercely kicked Fei Kai. Do you think I don't know? You fool, you big idiot. What good method is this? I also want a horse, where will you get me one? Fei Kai jumped in pain from Zhao Lianyun's kick. Suddenly, he pointed ahead and shouted, look, there is a horse. Zhao Lianyun turned around to look and was stupefied, blurting out, the fuck, there really is a horse. But she quickly reacted. There are no lack of horses in northern plains, but what we lack is the method to capture and tame it. Fei Kai, do you have any method? Fei Kai exclaimed, his hand still pointing ahead as he shouted, look, there is a person on the horse. Zhao Lianyun concentrated, there really was a person. As the horse neared the two, Zhao Lianyun's eyes suddenly opened wide because of the identity of the injured person on the horse's back, Ma Yingjia. Congratulations brother, congratulations. He tribe has won this battle, even if Ma tribe gets support from GU Immortals, they cannot reverse the situation. He Bai, who had been observing the battle all along, saw He tribe was already beginning to clear up the battlefield through investigative GU, and impatiently congratulated He Cheng who was beside him. He Cheng lightly smiled, congratulations to you too. He Lu Lan, this kid did not betray our expectations. Ah, right, the demonic path GU Immortal who supported Ma tribe has been discovered, it is Shui Songzi of Snowy Mountain's 6th peak. He Bai's expression immediately turned heavy, HMPH, so it was him. If not for him meddling and fighting with me over Wooden Chicken GU, the Immortal GU would not have escaped the bindings, and I would have already been in possession of Wooden Chicken GU. He Cheng comforted him with a smile. Brother, no need to worry, it will be the same thing if we can obtain Wooden Chicken GU with the help of 88 Truyong building. This is called, the road to happiness is strewn with setbacks. Once you obtain Wooden Chicken GU, you will become an expert among GU Immortals immediately. I don't deserve such praise. He Bai immediately bowed at He Cheng and sincerely said, if not for elder brother's generous help, how could I have such financial ability like Shui Songzi? Elder brother is really wise and far-sighted, investing so much immortal essence stones, it was an amazing decision. As expected, stocking up the wolf groups before sending them out for support all at once truly caught Shui Songzi unprepared. This time, even if Shui Songzi wants to continue sending help, there is no one to receive it. Ha ha ha, He Cheng laughed brightly before sighing, without investment, how could there be profits? He paused a moment and continued, also, we were fortunate that other famous super tribes did not really make their move in this imperial court contest. There was also the information from Fairy Tan Bai Ya which allowed us to know of the secret relationship between Ma tribe and Snowy Mountain. Another point, this Wolf King Changshan Yin is truly a spectacular junior, his performance was outstanding, the one with the most radiance in this contest such that his brilliance surpasses this generation's GU masters in Northern Plains. He Bai also nodded, having the same feeling. I have already investigated Chongshan Yin in detail. He is a person of Chong tribe and was very famous, even as GU Immortals knew of him. Later, he mysteriously disappeared for over 10 years, he clearly had a fortuitous encounter. Now, he cultivates both enslavement and strength path. I saw the killer move he used just before, its repercussions are not small but it is indeed somewhat interesting. Fang Yuan could conceal his injuries from the surrounding people, but he could not conceal it from GU Immortals. He Cheng was silent for a while before speaking. This is a GU Immortal seed, I plan to take him into He tribe. After he enters Imperial Court Blessed Land, we will properly observe him. If he is willing to join us and offer his loyalty, he might be able to become our He tribe's external supreme elder in the future. He Bai smiled. The difficulty of ascending to GU Immortal realm is unspeakable, elder brother truly thinks highly of him. In my opinion, Tai Bai Yunsheng is also quite good, we can also ask him to join He tribe. But he is a little old. He Cheng nodded. In these GU Immortals' eyes, only Chongshan Yin and Tai Bai Yunsheng piqued their interest and gained their attention among the entire He tribe alliance army. Chapter 544 Entrapping a GU Immortal. Chapter 544 Entrapping a GU Immortal. When Ma Yingjia finally woke up, his first sight was Fei Kai's joyous smiling face. Fei Kai shouted, "Young tribe leader, you are finally awake." The simple and honest voice warmed Ma Yingjia's heart. He struggled to sit upright, but the intense pain caused him to grimace and froth started to bubble from his mouth. He was barely able to ask, "Where is this place?" Fei Kai scratched his head, and said in shame, "I also don't know where this is, but we should have escaped the battlefield." Battlefield. Ma Yingjia suddenly started and immediately asked, "The battle, what happened?" "We lost, Lord Young tribe leader. Many people escaped and even more people surrendered," Fei Kai answered. Ma Yingjia's face turned pale white and his body shook, almost fainting down, but luckily Fei Kai was supporting his back. Zhao Lianyun stood at the side, looking at this formerly radiant Ma tribe young tribe leader who had now fallen into such a miserable state, it left a bad taste in her mouth. Sigh, this Ma Yingjia is young and promising, it is a pity he ran into Wolf King Chongshan Yin. It was not that you didn't try hard enough, but that the enemy was too much of a monster. Ma Yingjia closed his eyes, 2 streams of tears quietly falling down. After a while, he opened his reddened eyes and looked at Fei Kai and Zhao Lianyun, asking in a hoarse voice, "Did you guys save me?" Fei Kai and Zhao Lianyun nodded. "Young tribe leader, what do we do now?" Fei Kai asked. Ma Yingjia said with a gloomy expression, "We will return. This battle is our Ma tribe's defeat, but we still have some tribesmen remaining behind in Warm Pond Valley." Back then, before Heroes Assembly, Ma tribe schemed and brought about internal disorder in Fei tribe, before swallowing Fei tribe and occupying Warm Pond Valley. Ma tribe's higher-ups, to be prepared for the unexpected, left behind the old, weak, sick and crippled behind at Warm Pond Valley. If Ma tribe won, they would take these people back. But if Ma tribe lost, these people would be the seeds to continue the tribe's bloodline. Return to Warm Pond Valley. But we don't have water and also don't have any rations. To travel such a long distance, Zhao Lianyun's brows furrowed into a knot. "Hey, little girl, as long as I am here, there will be sufficient water and food. You guys don't need to worry," Ma Yingjia replied. The 3 started their journey, coming across many Ma tribesmen who had fled. Ma Yingjia took all of them in. "Lord Young tribe leader, I had not thought that I, Ma Yuliang, would still live to see you." When Ma Yuliang saw Ma Yingjia, he immediately said this in a sobbing voice. He was Ma tribe's rank 3 elder and was lying on a stretcher now. He had lost an arm and his right leg was fractured, his injuries were severe. When Ma Yingjia saw Ma Yuliang, tears involuntarily welled up in his eyes. "Elder Ma Yuliang, it really is good to see you." Although he had taken in many tribesmen along the way, most of them were mortals, while Ma Yuliang might be heavily injured and also crippled, but he was still a GU master. Ma tribe had been utterly defeated in this battle. Before the battle, they had been a large tribe whose foundations were deep enough to charge to super tribe level. But after the battle, Ma tribe was completely reduced to a small tribe, falling down from the pinnacle of their power. To the current Ma tribe, every GU master was a very precious strength and hope of the tribe. Lord Young tribe leader, old tribe leader died in the battlefield. Ma Yuliang cried bitterly as he told this grievous news to Ma Yingjia. Ma Yingjia's body shook intensely, and despite having already made mental preparations, his heart was still filled with endless sadness and sorrow after hearing this news. He gritted his teeth, his whole body seemingly having turned into an iron statue. After a while of silence, he slowly wiped away his tears and spoke, "From today onwards, I am Ma tribe leader. Elder Ma Yuliang, you need to pull yourself together. Our Ma tribe might have lost, but we are not exterminated." Back then, Ancestor Giant Sun set the rule that Huang Jin family's bloodline could not be exterminated. Ma tribe has already paid a disastrous price for the battle, now even He tribe cannot eradicate us. We will return to Warm Pond Valley and climb up from this loss. I believe our Ma tribe's radiance won't disperse like this. Ma Yuliang dazedly looked at the young tribe leader in front of him, and in his blurred vision, he seemed to be looking at Ma Shangfeng and Ma Zun's silhouettes. He stopped sobbing as hope rose up in his heart again. He then answered with a very deep voice, "Lord Tribe Leader, I also believe so." Winner takes all. While Ma Yingjia was miserably fleeing, it was a scene of celebratory feasts in the many tents of He Tribe's alliance army with plentiful food and people crowding around the warm bonfire. "We have won, we were victorious." Ma Tribe's ambition was too big, they actually wanted to become a super tribe. This ambition was the cause of their destruction. Congratulations to Lord He Lu Lan for becoming the Lord of Imperial Court. Esteemed Lord Wolf King, please allow me to propose a toast to you. The main tent was also a scene of festivity. Besides the fine wine and food, there were also beautiful and passionate Northern Plains women dancing gracefully to their heart's content. The ones present in the main tent were the higher-ups of He Tribe's alliance army and were all experts. The cultivations of these people were at least rank 4, one could say they were the most radiant heroes of this generation of Northern Plains. He Lu Lan was sitting on the main seat, and to the first seat on his left was Fang Yuan. Before, because of Tai Bai Yun Sheng's arrival as well as successive joining of several rank 5 tribe elders, Fang Yuan's position had been pushed to the back. But after the third battle with Ma tribe, Fang Yuan revealed his rank 5 peak stage cultivation and with his strength alone, battled the enemy's 3 enslavement masters, and beheaded Cheng Long, Wu Yi and other famous experts. One could say Fang Yuan was at least 70% of the reason He tribe could win against Ma tribe decisively. Everyone in He tribe was shocked at Wolf King's terrifying battle strength, and that very night, they readjusted the seat rankings in the main tent. No one opposed this. Experts proposed toasts to Fang Yuan one after another. Fang Yuan did not refuse anyone, but only took a sip every time. This was completely not a demeanor of a grand Northern Plains warrior, but right now, this instead formed an arrogant and aloof aura on Fang Yuan. The main tent was filled with a joyful atmosphere. The GU master who proposed the toast just before was Soul Blade General Pan Ping. He used his Soul Blade GU and luckily managed to take Ma tribe leader Ma Shangfeng's head in the battle. Thus, his position was only inferior to Fang Yuan in the battle merit board now, being ranked at second. Seeing Fang Yuan taking a sip in response to his toast, Pan Ping gratefully stepped to the side. Northern Plains natives admire warriors. A terrifying performance like Fang Yuan's was extremely rare even when considering all the imperial court contests. Flying Master and Enslavement Path Master, 2 master-level halos shone on his body. His Enslavement Path and Strength Path dual cultivation would give an extreme headache to all his enemies. Seeing Pan Ping becoming satisfied and overwhelmed, and retreating in deference, the surrounding gazes showed respect, worship or fear. Fang Yuan calmly placed down the wine cup and sighed inwardly, unknowingly, I have already reached this stage. Riding on the great wave known as the Imperial Court Contest, Fang Yuan's individual battle strength rapidly inflated. Now, he was already at the summit of the mortal world. He had reached the peak of the mortals. Advancing further would be the realm of immortals. In the battle before, he slaughtered famed experts, rampaging all around with no one being able to obstruct him. Very few rank 5 peak stage GU masters could display such performance. He Lu Lan's light was completely seized by Fang Yuan. Despite there being great flaws in cultivating both enslavement and strength path, despite 4-arm Earth King Killer move being newly created and not yet perfected, they were already enough as a cornerstone to allow Fang Yuan to stand proud in the mortal world. In 3 Kings Blessed Land, Fang Yuan used the Blessed Land's power to kill rank 4 and rank 5 GU master experts. And now, he was able to do it with his own strength. Even if Tai Clan's previous clan leader Tai Mubai resurrected, Fang Yuan had the confidence of killing him. In a short period of time, Fang Yuan's battle strength had truly increased at a sharply flying speed. This accomplishment that others would find it almost impossible to achieve their whole life, was established on 500 years of his former life's experience, who Immortal Blessed Land, painstaking efforts and strategies as a base. But it is still not enough, far from enough. What can being the peak of the mortal world be considered as? As long as one is not a GU immortal, they will simply be chess pieces. Not mentioning the goal of eternal life, just looking at my current goal, I have yet to save Danghun Mountain. Fang Yuan's gaze turned solemn as the flames of ambition burned in his heart. He glanced at Tai Bai Yunsheng who was at the side. To save Danghun Mountain, he required Tai Bai Yunsheng's immortal GU landscape as before. This was his most important target for this trip to Northern Plains. Even 88 Truyong building was secondary. In his plan, if Danghun Mountain could not be saved, then 88 Truyong building's inheritance could only barely fill his losses. However, it was a very troublesome thing to take away others' GU worms. A GU worm's survival could be decided on simply a thought from its master. For example, Fang Yuan only needed a thought and even his immortal GU, Spring Autumn Cicada, would easily self-destruct. Precisely because of this, when GU masters battled to death, they would often get next to nothing in terms of GU worms from the corpse. And Tai Bai Yunsheng's situation was even more troublesome. Immortal GU landscape as before had yet to be born. It was an immortal GU created by Tai Bai Yunsheng after he became a GU immortal, and by using river as before and mountain as before as the main materials. Hence, there were two courses of actions Fang Yuan could take. First was to capture Tai Bai Yunsheng and use soul path GU worms to soul search and plunder the recipe of landscape as before from his mind, then refine it by himself. This plan was too risky. First of all, Fang Yuan might not be able to capture Tai Bai Yunsheng alive. Capturing alive and killing were two completely different concepts. Especially when Tai Bai Yunsheng was very powerful and was a time path GU master, the failure of the plan would have huge consequences. Secondly, even if Fang Yuan was able to capture Tai Bai Yunsheng alive, does it mean he could get the river as before and mountain as before GU? In case Tai Bai Yunsheng made these two GU self-destruct, all of Fang Yuan's efforts would go to waste. Finally, it was still unknown if the current Tai Bai Yunsheng had the GU recipe for landscape as before in his mind. The possibility of a mortal being able to come up with an immortal GU recipe was extremely small. Especially when Tai Bai Yunsheng was not a refinement path master. According to the vague rumors in Fang Yuan's previous life, when Tai Bai Yunsheng became a GU immortal, heaven and earth reacted, Dao marks attracted each other and his inspiration exploded, making the two rank 5 GU spontaneously merge together to form rank 6 immortal GU landscape as before. If it really was so, then the GU recipe for landscape as before simply did not exist and its refinement process could not be duplicated. The first course of action could not be adopted, then what about the second? In truth, it was not any better than the first. After Tai Bai Yunsheng entered Imperial Court Blessed Land, he would advance to GU Immortal Realm. The second plan was to wait for him to become a GU Immortal and possess the Immortal GU, then deal with him. The meaning of this was that Fang Yuan, as Immortal, would be entrapping a GU Immortal. Chapter 545 Ma Hong Yun. Chapter 545, Ma Hong Yun. Translator, Chibi General Editor, Chibi General. How big was the possibility of a mortal successfully plotting against a GU immortal? Fang Yuan might be a rank 5 peak stage GU master, but it would be almost impossible for him as well to cross the boundaries of immortal and mortal. Fang Yuan was a GU immortal in his past life, there might be no mortal that had as deep of an understanding of this as him. Fortunately, Fang Yuan's plan was not just himself as a mortal going against a GU immortal. He would borrow the strength of 88 Truyong building, the bright guidance from his previous life's rich experience and also the precious information from Langya Land Spirit, all these allowed his plan to have a higher chance of success. With this, he had a 20% chance of seizing immortal GU landscape as before. 20% probability was already the highest among the three ways to save Danghun Mountain. Only an immortal GU could contend against immortal GU Gruel Mud. Based on his wide vision and experience from his 500 years of experience, Fang Yuan knew of only 3 immortal GU that could save Danghun Mountain. First was the rank 6 Earth Path Turn Rock GU, this GU was with Western Desert's rank 6 GU Immortal Sun CU. Second was similarly an Earth Path rank 6 Immortal GU rebuilding Mount Dongshan, which was in Eastern Sea's Haishi Blessed Land. Third was Time Path rank 6 Immortal GU landscape as before. This GU had not yet been created and was not a naturally formed GU. Its master Tai Bai Yunsheng was only a rank 5 GU master currently. To seize Turn Rock GU, Fang Yuan would have to deal with GU Immortal Sun CU who had been a GU Immortal for over a dozen years. And the situation would be even more bad if he wanted to scheme against rebuilding Mount Dongshan. Fang Yuan would be placing himself under the radar of GU Immortals, and would he be able to exchange for the Immortal GU as Immortal? This was nothing more than a kid carrying gold and strolling around the black market. Thus, the third plan of Immortal GU landscape as before had the lowest risk and the highest probability of success. Even if Tai Bai Yunsheng would advance into a GU Immortal, he would only be a greenhorn and would not be familiar with the qualitative change of strength. Compared to the veteran Sun Cu and that group of GU Immortals in the High Shi Blessed Land, this opponent was much more easy to deal with. Northern Plains, December. The blizzard was gradually becoming bigger and appeared more frequently. Even if there was no blizzard, the pure white snow had covered the whole northern plains, and even the blistering hot sunlight became powerless. The time of the 10-year blizzard was already approaching closer. Tian Chuan, Warm Pond Valley. Tribe leader, this is the Spirit Spring Sea. Ma Yuliang worriedly pointed at the dried spirit spring and introduced it to Ma Yingjia. Ma Yingjia's brows furrowed deeply. This Spirit Spring Sea was one of the only 3 remaining spirit springs of Warm Pond Valley. Now that it was dried up, only Spirit Springs A and B were left to support Ma tribe. This was disastrous news to Ma tribe. The Spirit Springs in Northern Plains were different from the Spirit Springs in other regions. Northern springs had little spring water and narrow spring opening, so they burst out fiercely and had poor foundation, so they lasted the shortest time. Eastern springs were plentiful in numbers, southern springs gurgled, northern springs were intense and western springs were pure. A mid-sized clan could last for over 10 years in southern border, using one spirit spring. As long as they did not use up the spirit spring excessively, they could continue to use the thin and continuous flow of the spirit spring. But it was different in northern plains. Spirit springs formed quickly in northern plains and quickly finished as well. Add in the intense warfares in northern plains, a mid-sized tribe would require at least 3 or 4 spirit springs to sustain themselves. Ma Yingjia became Ma tribe's new tribe leader after he returned to the tribe. Ma tribe had lost at their attempt to charge into super tribe level and was now reduced to a small tribe, causing the large Warm Pond Valley to appear spacious and empty. Ma tribe had rations and water sources, moreover had made ample preparations. But a spirit spring was a commodity that was an essential and important resource to a GU master's cultivation. Once the blizzard arrives, places like Warm Pond Valley would become the final place of refuge. Not only beast groups, other GU masters would also come to stay. As the owner of the place, Ma tribe not only had to resist against the blizzard but had to negotiate with these people as well. The primeval stones from the spirit spring were the backbone in supporting a GU master's battles. Now, out of the 3 backbones of Ma tribe, one was broken. The weak Ma tribe that was left with 30% of their foundation suddenly had 10% less because of the drying spirit spring sea. However, Ma Yingjia had no countermeasures to deal with such a problem. If he had a river as before, GU, he could immediately restore Spirit Spring Sea to its original condition, resolving this problem, but he did not have it. Lord Tribe Leader, are Spirit Springs really so important? Fei Kai asked on the way back. After he returned to the tribe, as a benefactor who saved Ma Yingjia, he was immediately liberated from his slave status and was now a free person. At the same time, he was still Ma Yingjia's personal attendant. Ma Yingjia worriedly nodded. A spirit springs drying up has an extremely huge influence towards GU masters. And GU masters are the pillars of a tribe. Our Ma tribe not only needs GU masters as an important strength to resist all kinds of calamities during the blizzard disaster, but also to fight for new resources to develop the tribe after the disaster. Fei Kai exclaimed, then asked while walking. Then, can't we find new spirit springs? Our Warm Pond Valley is so large, who is to say that there are only these 3 spirit springs? Fei Kai's words were filled with his optimistic spirit. Ma Yingjia gave a bitter laugh. Northern Plains spirit springs can indeed form in a short time. There might be a 4th spirit spring in Warm Pond Valley, but the probability is close to 0. The thing is, every 10 years as the blizzard approaches, spirit springs in all regions of Northern Plains will continue to become dry and dead. After the blizzard disperses, new spirit springs will gush out in large numbers. At that time, all the regions of Northern Plains will have plentiful water vegetation, and you might even find one spirit spring every 100 li. That is the best time for every tribe and every beast group to grow. It was like that. Fei Kai only then realized he had lived for this long and was still ignorant, and was not familiar to such situations. Ah! Suddenly, he screamed as he fell down to the side. They were walking a path beside the cliff. Fortunately it was a gentle slope and not a precipice. Fei Kai had lost his footing and rolled down from the slope, screaming as he fell. This guy, Ma Yingjia, was amused at the series of hilarious screams from Fei Kai, his tightly knitted brows slightly relaxed. You idiot, you can't even walk now. Climb up quickly. Ma Yingjia suddenly stopped, His eyes opened wide as he looked incredulously at a brand new spirit spring gushing out from the slope. This spirit spring's mouth had been covered by a rock. But this stone was pushed by the rolling Fei Kai, letting the spirit spring that was covered reveal itself. This was clearly a recently formed spirit spring, otherwise Ma tribe would not have missed it during their search before the battle. The volume of the spirit spring was enormous, and in a short few moments of time, over 100 primeval stones gushed with the spring water and fell on the surrounding ground. This is actually a new spirit spring, and one that directly surpasses the volume of spirit spring A. Ma Yingjie was so happy that even his eyes started reddening. Is this the so-called joy after extreme sorrow? This is definitely the blessing of our ancestors in longevity heaven. Tribe leader, I have returned. At this time, Fei Kai came back while limping a little, and as he saw the new spring, his eyes similarly opened wide. Strange, how could there suddenly be a spring here? Ma Yingjie laughed heartily. Fei Kai, you are the lucky star that heaven sent to me. From today onwards, you should change your name. Fei Kai sounds similar to trash. How could I Ma Yingjie have trash beside me? From now, you shall be called Hong Yun, Fei Hong Yun. It indicates luck shining on our Ma tribe, joy after extreme sorrow. However, Ma Yingjie was not happy for long, as 7 days later, He tribe army arrived and surrounded Warm Pond Valley. The very night the He tribe army garrisoned nearby, the 3 spirit springs of Warm Pond Valley simultaneous turned black, completely polluted. A letter to surrender soon reached Ma Yingjie's land. Ma Yingjie had not expected He Lulan to not let him go even after clearly achieving the final victory. The spirit springs that were contaminated by the use of GU worms could no longer produce primeval stones and were all useless. Although Ma tribe still had stocks of primeval stones, they had already lost the possibility of continuing to stay in Warm Pond Valley. I had not thought He Lulan would be so hell-bent on attacking. He has requested our Ma tribe to surrender in the letter, which does not violate the rules set by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable back then. Damn it, he is truly hateful. Ma Yingjie clenched his fists, his heart filled with anger, hatred, helplessness and powerlessness. He Lulan, who is nicknamed Black Tyrant, has always been brutal and violent. It seems the battle before created a fear in him towards Ma tribe. But because of Ancestor Giant Sun's rules, he wants to put Ma tribe under his sight and continue to oppress us. Ma Yuliang was sitting stiffly on his chair and analyzed this with a heavy voice. After pausing for a while, he continued. Actually, this is also good. We can surrender to He Lulan, which would mean we can enter Imperial Court Blessed Land as well. Ma Yingjie shook his head. This is where He Lulan's sinister intent lies in. It is true Ma tribe will be able to stay in Imperial Court, but what about others? Let me ask you, how many tribesmen do we have left with surname Ma? Ma Yuliang paled as he answered. Only over 130. Precisely so. Ma Yingjie nodded with a heavy expression. To grow our tribe, we would need to take in outsiders and also wantonly connect with marriage and have large numbers of offspring. But as long as He Lulan sent a command to forbid our Ma tribe from taking in outsiders and even only allowing us to have inter-tribe marriage, then how long would it take for our Ma tribe to grow? Ma Yuliang's face turned even paler. He realized the seriousness of this problem. Politics was dirty, and not allowing them to marry outsiders could be easily done. He Lulan would only need to use the reason of protecting the purity of Huang Jin family's bloodline, and he would be able to justly suppress Ma tribe's development. Then what should we do? Ma Yuliang lost his composure. Ma Yingjie was silent for a while before resolutely saying, we will bestow surname Ma to the outsiders and take them as our own tribesmen. Lord Tribe Leader, if we do this, our Ma tribe's Huang Jin bloodline will really be, Ma Yuliang spoke hesitantly. We will have preventive measures. Huang Jin bloodline is our Ma tribe's pride, we can never let it be contaminated. If the situation takes a turn for the better, we can denounce these people and strip away their Ma surname. Ma Yuliang only then felt at ease and nodded, approving this plan. Chapter 546 The Way Forward for the Insignificant People. Chapter 546 The Way Forward for the Insignificant People. Moving carriages and neighing horses. The huge group of nearly 1 million advanced towards the central Imperial Court region of Northern Plains. The blizzard outside was blowing intensely, causing the big stomach horse to lower its head helplessly. The white snow on the ground was knee-deep, as everyone moved with extremely difficult steps. One by one, the blue farm slug GU moved forward. Their stomachs were stuffed with all sorts of resources, turning their original size of 3 elephants into a mound-like hill. Carriages after carriages followed behind the blue farm slug GU. In order to shield these mortals from the approaching blizzard, they were covered in frost. To prevent the slug GU from freezing to death, 3 GU masters would be in charge of 1 slug GU, removing the frost on them while using fire path GU worms to give them warmth, maintaining their temperature. The army pressed forward towards the imperial court. As the blizzard became larger, the army's speed became slower. Large number of mortal slaves fell during the journey, and never got up again. Lu Lan could order GU masters to save them, but he did not do so. Even though the imperial court-blessed land was huge and could accommodate 5 million people, in Lu Lan's opinion, the resources within the blessed land were his, why would he distribute them to these lowly slaves? Every extra person meant he had to lose another bit of benefit. Using the blizzard to sacrifice large numbers of useless mortals, this was a hidden rule among all past lords of the imperial court. Mortal lives were cheap. They were like grass. Once the blizzard was over, they would rapidly grow again, increasing in numbers and using up northern plains' scarce resources like leeches, awaiting the next 10-year blizzard. As the blizzard became stronger, the people move against the force of the wind. Fang Yuan was inside the large lizard house GU, he could hear the wind outside the windows. Within the large lizard house GU, it was warm as spring. Using it to move in such an environment had about 5 to 6 times the primeval essence expenditure as before. But to Fang Yuan, just his rank 5 peak stage 90% aperture could easily sustain this expenditure with no problem. Moreover, his second aperture had also advanced to rank 5 upper stage recently. Fang Yuan came before the window, looking outside the tightly sealed glass window, towards the left. Ma tribe's members were there. After Ma Yingjia took the role of tribe leader, Ma Hongyun appeared, even Zhao Lianyun was beside him. Fang Yuan had already confirmed this secretly, and even instructed Zhe tribe to pay special attention to Ma Hongyun and Zhao Lianyun. In his memory, Ma Hongyun obtained an inheritance of giant son Immortal Venerable in 88 Truyong building. In Fang Yuan's following plans, he was a very useful pawn piece. As for Zhao Lianyun, she was still just a child, she posed no threat. At the same time, she was very close to Ma Hongyun. Fang Yuan wanted to observe them further. In my previous life, Ma Hongyun appeared. Now, despite my influence, Ma Hongyun still appeared. Then in the future, will he and Zhao Lianyun still reach that level of achievement just like in the previous life? After rebirth, Fang Yuan had been deeply interested towards the topic of changing history, a desire to know growing deep inside his heart. The flow of history had inertia, as well as changes. With his personal experience, the butterfly effect theorized on Earth was slightly off. 500 years in his past life, Ma Hongyun was given a surname and allowed to cultivate as a GU master. That was because he obtained a relic GU and gave it to Ma Yingjia. Right now, it was because of Lu Lan's pressure that caused Ma Yingjia to have no choice but make this decision. This decision gave birth to a new Ma Hongyun. The process was different, but the result was the same. The event that unfolded before him made Fang Yuan ponder, as he uncontrollably thought of one word, fate. Fate, this was a word much more mysterious and ethereal than space or time. Legend says that there was a luck path among GU master paths, but until today, no one could confirm it. However, there were many important characters that were connected to fate. In less than greater than, it clearly indicated the existence of destiny GU. The second generation Immortal Venerable of the Heavenly Court, the creator of Wisdom Path, controlled this GU, thus being able to plot against 3 future demon venerables. In 3 Kings' blessed land, Fang Yuan was informed by the land spirit, Red Lotus Demon Venerable was a great hero, breaking the restriction of destiny, allowing all life in this world to regain control of their own fate. In fact, Fang Yuan had vaguely heard such a rumor. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable controlled a luck path GU worm. Thus he had extremely good fortune and ease in his cultivation journey, avoiding disasters and gaining great blessings. In this world, is there really a thread of fate that connects all living beings together? Fang Yuan went into deep thought. In the 500 years of his previous life, although he became a GU immortal, he only managed to unravel a tiny portion of this world's mystery and secrets. Be it his previous life, or this life, the more he progressed, the stronger he got, the more he felt his own ignorance and insignificance. The more insignificant and ignorant he felt, the more interest he had in moving forward, he wanted to progress further. Compared to this world, I am merely an ant. Fang Yuan's blood was filled with pride and humility, obstinance and understanding. Collecting all his scattered thoughts, Fang Yuan concentrated his attention on the matter ahead. Imperial Court Blessed Land rejects GU Immortals. I am already rank 5 peak stage. This is likely the first and the last time I am entering the Imperial Court to physically come into contact with 88 Truyong building. But this time, He Lu Lan purposely went over to Warm Pond Valley to force Ma tribe to surrender. This was a strange move. Fang Yuan's gaze became solemn. Ma tribe had already lost terribly, and they had the Huang Jin bloodline. Why would He Lu Lan do this? This was understandable in his previous life. Back then, Ma tribe was not completely helpless, they had strong defense and was a turtle shell that was hard to take down. He Lu Lan had no choice but to force them to surrender. Now that Ma tribe was declining, He Lu Lan still moved his army and laboriously forced Ma tribe to surrender. He spent so much effort to suppress Ma tribe. Did he have deep enmity with Ma tribe personally? Fang Yuan shook his head. There were no evidence that could support this thought. Never mind, maybe He Lu Lan was just spurred on and wanted to raise his merits. This is only a small detail, my own strength is always the most important thing. Thinking so, his mind entered his aperture. The injuries from using the killer move Four-Arm Earth King had already recovered. As for the killer move, he had several adjustments. He changed Earth Overlord GU to Wind Overlord GU. As for the other supplementary GU worms, they were adjusted accordingly. This way, he would not need to step on the ground, and would fight best in the wind. The stronger the wind, the more battle strength he can display, and the smaller the drawbacks he would face after using the killer move. But Fang Yuan was not satisfied. This was only a temporary compromise, the weakness of this killer move had not been reduced. If he fought in an environment without wind, the consequences of using the killer move would not be any better as before. For GU masters, there were way too many methods to restrict the wind. Once his weakness was exposed publicly, his killer move would no longer have any threat to his enemies, they would have no fear towards it. Actually, no matter how good my modifications were, I would not be satisfied. My true aim is to eliminate the weakness of my strength enslavement dual cultivation. The killer move Four-Arm Earth King is merely a starting point. But this result could not escape from the limits of transformation path. What Fang Yuan wanted was to completely and utterly modify his body, he did not want to achieve such temporary transformation. Nevertheless, reaching this point had already expended Fang Yuan's 500 years of knowledge accumulation. After all, Fang Yuan was a blood path GU immortal back then, his attainment in strength and enslavement paths were merely subsidiaries, he merely touched the tip of the iceberg. If possible, Fang Yuan wanted to quickly become a blood path GU immortal. But it was different now after rebirth. His vital GU was not a blood path GU. A crucial condition for becoming a GU immortal was the vital GU. Originally, after Fang Yuan got the second aperture GU, he would have a second chance. But that crucial blood path vital GU was still buried in the inheritance, it had not appeared yet. Fang Yuan could not wait in vain, the situation was forcing him, he could only choose to strengthen himself now, to deal with the challenges ahead, and all the enemies lurking around him. Staying alive, that was the most important thing. Fang Yuan had also realized that his foundation in strength and enslavement paths were lacking. His involvement in a wide range of paths in his previous life allowed him to easily control GU worms of many paths, while being skilled in the combination of different GU worms. Among them, his attainment in enslavement path was the highest. But to resolve the issue of strength enslavement dual cultivation, an age-old question, he would need to move ahead of history and undergo creative and daring experiments, his foundation was lacking in this aspect. Even though Fang Yuan had clues to Luopo Valley now, maybe after he obtains Luopo Valley, he would be able to convert to the glorious soul path. But Fang Yuan never liked placing his hopes on certain possibilities in the future. Even if he changes to soul path in the future, his hard work in enslavement and strength would be a precious resource and would greatly benefit his future cultivation. Knowing his own inaptitude, Fang Yuan had been reading intensely these few days. He used his huge pool of battle merits to exchange for Dragon Horse Spirit, 3 Hearts Combination Soul, all sorts of killer moves, as well as dozens of small strength path inheritances. He also got the recorded journal of 4 enslavement masters, among them, Rat Epidemic, Thunder Explosion, Leopard Rush, and Horse Barrage. These 4 killer moves were invaluable. Fang Yuan's foundation had always been thick, these days he had been reading laboriously, his understanding and knowledge in strength and enslavement path surged greatly by several times compared to before. Different from his previous life where he studied these paths as a side path, he had personally experienced these paths this time, and together with his theories, he gained countless inspirations. But these inspirations could not resolve his problem now. Actually, looking at information about the transformation of the body, the first records were in less than greater than. When Ren Zhu fell into a certain death situation, in order to save her own father, desolate ancient moon came to Chengbai Mountain and killed the Rockman. Fang Yuan had a burst of inspiration as he flipped less than greater than beside him. This was the first classic of the GU Master World, countless mysteries were hidden within it. Even existences like GU Immortal kept a copy of it with them at all times, occasionally flipping and learning from it. Chapter 547 Search for Success. Chapter 547 Search for Success. Fang Yuan flipped less than the legends of Ren Zhu, and this was recorded within. When Ren Zhu was in a certain death situation, after he fell into Luokou Valley and had no way to get out. Desolate Ancient Moon, in order to save her father, climbed up Chengbai Mountain and tried to get to the top, in order to get that one and only success GU. As long as she made a wish to success GU, Desolate Ancient Moon would be able to save Ren Zhu. But when Desolate Ancient Moon got to the foot of the mountain, she was obstructed by the Rockman. It turns out that when Ren Zhu's second daughter arrived at Chengbai Mountain, she ruined Love Gu's wonderful dream. Out of anger, Love Gu awakened the Rockman in order to obstruct Desolate Ancient Moon. After Desolate Ancient Moon killed the Rockman, and got to the mountain waste. Love Gu had yet to leave, it appeared before Desolate Ancient Moon and said, "Oh human, you interrupted my sweet dream, yet you still desire to take away success GU. Now I will topple the entire Chengbai Mountain, you can have fun finding that one and only success GU out of billions of rocks." Ha ha ha. Saying so, Love Gu crashed towards Chengbai Mountain. Chengbai Mountain was not an ordinary mountain, it was a mound entirely made up of stacked rocks. After Love Gu crashed into it, the entire mountain crumbled. Love Gu left smugly, leaving behind Desolate Ancient Moon, who looked at this huge pile of rocks in a daze. How was she going to find that one and only success GU among this chaotic pile of rocks? Desolate Ancient Moon was troubled, without a choice, she had to return to Cognition GU to seek advice. After Cognition GU heard Desolate Ancient Moon's description, it sighed. Love GU had always been demanding and unreasonable, even if it was me, or my child Wisdom GU, we would not want to confront it. Right now, Chengbai Mountain had collapsed, you can only look at these rocks one by one, to find the real success GU from among them. There are no other ways. Cognition GU said again, but you have to be careful, there are two GU on Chengbai Mountain. One is success GU, at the peak of the mountain. The other is failure GU, at the bottom of the mountain. Failure is the mother of success, but it also has many other children. Those rocks are success GU's siblings. When you pick those rocks, many unthinkably bad situations will occur. I will tell you a secret here, as long as you continue to affirm the belief of me in your heart, these disastrous situations will gradually disappear. Desolate Ancient Moon heard this and her heart sank. She asked again, then how do I differentiate the rocks in my hand? What do success GU and failure GU look like? Cognition GU sighed. They look almost the same, but it is easy to differentiate them. Just hold them in your hands, you will learn about their identities. In your search for success GU, that failure GU will be your biggest threat. You cannot hold on to the failure GU, otherwise, you will be completely lost and your life would be in danger. Desolate Ancient Moon heard this and nodded, expressing her gratitude. Cognition instructed her again before leaving. Do not say that I taught you that. If Love GU comes to find me, I'd be in trouble. In the face of fanatic and toyful love, wisdom and cognition can only run away. Don't worry, I won't expose you. Desolate Ancient Moon agreed, returning to Chengbai Mountain. Seeing the huge pile of rocks, her heart was gloomy. Success was not easily obtainable. To obtain success, she would need to bend down and search while taking great risks. Desolate Ancient Moon breathed in deeply, picking up the first rock. This rock was ordinary, but when Desolate Ancient Moon held it in her hand, it shook slightly. A light wound appeared on Desolate Ancient Moon's hand. This was not success GU, but one of success siblings, one of the children of failure GU. Desolate Ancient Moon's heart was shocked. She touched the wound on her hand as she recalled what Cognition GU said. When you pick those rocks, many unthinkably bad situations will occur. You have to affirm the belief of me in your heart. So this is the terrible situation. Desolate Ancient Moon understood. She chanted in her heart, me, 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 me. As she chanted, the wound on her hand miraculously healed. Only a light scar was left. She tossed the first rock away, and picked up the second rock. When she held this rock in her hand, Desolate Ancient Moon's heart jumped, as an intense feeling of fear assaulted her. Desolate Ancient Moon was shivering in fear, she almost ran away to escape, away from this place. But she held on, and chanted, me. After a long time, she slowly recovered as the fear in her heart was gone by half, finally picking up the third rock. This rock made her dejected. She could not help but think, I want to find that one and only success GU among these billions of rocks. How difficult is that? How long would it take me? She could barely move anymore. She felt that the future was shrouded in darkness. It was too difficult to find success GU. She almost wanted to give up, but she thought about her father who was trapped in life and death door. If I give up, who will save father? Desolate Ancient Moon shuddered. Oh no, I forgot to chant, me. Desolate Ancient Moon chanted again, getting rid of the despair in her heart, bending down to pick up another rock. Once she held the fourth rock in her hand, Desolate Ancient Moon was shocked to find out that her nose had changed. It turned into a pig's nose. She chanted, me, once again, allowing her nose to recover. Spending a lot of time, she exerted all her effort to get rid of the pig nose. But her nose was still slightly deformed compared to before. Like this, Desolate Ancient Moon continued to pick up rocks, hoping to find that success GU. But days passed, and all she found was failure goose children. Among these rocks, some made her injured, some made her dejected, despair, or fear, while some made her grow a pig head, rat's tail, etc. Despite Desolate Ancient Moon chanting, me, continuously, some of the scars still remained on her. As they accumulated, these scars turned her into a monster. She grew 6 heads, 3 arms, 5 tails, and looked like a centaur. She had 16 legs, and some of her legs had soft fur, some had snake-like scales, some had sharp claws, some had tough hooves. In the search for success, people often transform and become completely different. But Desolate Ancient Moon also became much stronger because of this. After going through so much, she had become several hundred times as strong as before. These rocks could not longer trouble her. Success, oh success, where in the world are you? Her 7 mouths opened together. Some were screaming, some were shouting, some were whispering while others were growling. The more she failed, the more she desired success in her heart. After her great effort, the number of unpicked rocks became fewer and fewer. Eventually, when there were only 2 rocks left, Desolate Ancient Moon was stuck between 2 difficult choices. Undeniably, among these 2 rocks, one was success GU, while the other was failure GU. If she obtained success GU, that would be the best. But if she picked failure GU, then Desolate Ancient Moon would become completely lost. She would be in danger of dying. Even if Desolate Ancient Moon became a monster, becoming so much stronger. One step to heaven, one step to hell, what should she choose? Desolate Ancient Moon could not help but become hesitant. If I do not dare to take the next step for fear of failure, then I will never succeed. I am already so strong, success is a step away from me. Even if I take failure GU, as long as I chant, me, I should be able to endure it right. Eventually, she mustered her courage and stretched out her palm, picking one of the rocks. Unfortunately, she picked failure GU. An unforeseen feeling of lost, self-doubt assaulted her. Me. Desolate Ancient Moon continued to chant, me, but her voice became softer, as her 7 mouths stopped moving eventually, her expression turning into a daze. She had fallen into endless perplexity, she had completely lost herself. The biggest tragedy for a human, is to lose your sense of self. Sigh. After reading this, Fang Yuan sighed as he closed the book. At once, his thoughts were drifting as he showed a very complicated expression. It was still snowing outside the window, snowflakes were floating in the air. As the 10-year disaster approaches, the blizzard did not show signs of weakening, instead it was growing. Northern Plains, end of December. When He Lu Lan led the army and arrived at the last minute, at Imperial Court Blessed Land's entrance, the alliance had about half its members left. A large number of mortals died on the way there. In fact, many GU masters died from the attacks of beast groups. The item to open the Imperial Court Blessed Land was on He Lu Lan. When he stood up, a mild golden light shone in the air. Immediately after, the golden light intensified, forming a light ring. The light ring expanded, turning into a grand city gate. On the gate, there were exquisite silvery flower patterns. Many fist-sized copper buttons were plastered on the gate. Boom, there was like an invisible hand behind the door, pulling the heavy door open. Immediately, the thick smell of sandalwood spread. The snow in the air stopped moving. Under the influence of a mysterious power, the snow in the air gathered like bees. In an instant, a solid and magnificent ice ladder was created. At the top of the ladder, it was connected to the floating Imperial Court gate. It extended all the way to the ground. Imperial Court Blessed Land. He Lu Lan could not conceal his excitement. He took 3 steps as he ascended the ice ladder, becoming the first person to enter the imperial court. 88 Truyong Building. Fang Yuan was the second person, his gaze became solemn as he took calm strides in. After that, Tai Bai Yun Shang, Hao Jilu and other high-level experts went in. About an hour later, the entire He tribe army had entered Imperial Court Blessed Land. The ice ladder broke apart, as the Red City Gate closed itself. The light ring shrunk into one dot, and vanished. They have all entered. The GU Immortals observed in secret retracted their helpless and nostalgic gazes. Chapter 548. Chapter 548. Inheritance hidden in eerie fire python's den. When Fang Yuan opened his eyes, the scene before him had completely transformed. The sky was light gold in color, the land was like spring, with green agricultural terraces, there were gentle streams flowing, and low-lying mounds, one could see far and wide in this boundless plains. This was a serene and peaceful world, forming a great contrast to the blizzard outside. This was Northern Plains' greatest utopia, Imperial Court Blessed Land. It opens every 10 years, as a reward to the Lord of Northern Plains. Fang Yuan looked around and found that he was alone. Although everyone entered from the same gate, after they stepped through the gate, they were separated and randomly transported to any area of the Blessed Land. This was as per usual. Fang Yuan was not shocked. According to the earlier agreement, next he had to travel towards the center of the Blessed Land. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's former place of residence was there, Northern Plains' sacred palace. I am finally in here. Fang Yuan regulated his breathing. The Imperial Court contest was only a prelude. What was truly important was the following events. He tried activating Eagle Rise GU. His crystal purple primeval essence moved according to his will, entering the Eagle Rise GU. Swoosh. With a light sound, followed by intense pain, 2 broad and huge pitch-black eagle wings grew on his back. Within Imperial Court Blessed Land, the use of mortal GU was not restricted. As for immortal GU, they could not be restrained in any Blessed Land. The strong eagle wings flapped lightly and brought Fang Yuan into the air. Flying in the air, feeling the light wind brushing past his face, he could smell the unique scent of nature that permeated the entire Blessed Land. Compared to the outside world, this place was extremely peaceful. It was like heaven. Fang Yuan was in no hurry. He flew slowly as he enjoyed the scenery around him. Imperial Court Blessed Land's landscape was quite similar to Northern Plains. At one glance, it was a huge plain. There were mounds and slopes with beautiful and elegant lines. It was like a stream of jade green flowing smoothly without obstacles. But different from Northern Plains, every 8 li, there would be a tower on the ground. These towers made Fang Yuan think of totem pillars. Each one was about 25 meters tall. They were tall and straight, with a gold and silver surface, with lots of precious gems adorning it, beautiful and exquisite. In the tower, there were countless barriers, like a beehive. Inside, were many GU worms. When the worm groups in the Blessed Land give birth to GU, these GU worms would detach themselves from the group and live in these towers. The towers were built by Giant Sun. No matter what type of GU worm it was, they would be able to find their food inside the towers. Every tower had tens of thousands of GU worms. These GU consists of many species. There were large numbers of common GU and few rare GU. Undeniably, each of these towers were a huge fortune. Even Fang Yuan can feel his attraction to them. He could even see a group of about 1,000 starlight firefly GU in one of the towers. Unfortunately, I cannot take these GU as I wish. When the Imperial Court contest first started, some daring GU masters tried to steal or even attack the towers to take the wild GU inside. In the end, they were like candles. Their entire body melted until their white bone skeleton was left, smashed into a pile. Fang Yuan's gaze concentrated. This was the heavenly power of the Blessed Land, the power of heaven and earth. No mortals could resist it. Even GU immortals would be left in a pathetic state when competing against it. After enough lessons taught, by now, no GU master had the intention to attack the towers. If we chase the origin, the GU immortal who created Imperial Court Blessed Land was a space path GU immortal whose name can no longer be found. Because of this Blessed Land is huge, far larger than other Blessed Lands. Before Giant Sun Immortal Venerable became an immortal, he inherited this place luckily and became the Blessed Land's new owner. After Giant Sun became an Immortal Venerable, and obtained unparalleled power, he displayed great methods and set up the tradition of the Imperial Court contest, allowing this ancient Blessed Land to continue existing until now. Fang Yuan flew as he recalled. The methods of an Immortal Venerable were beyond his understanding. Who knows how Giant Son Immortal Venerable managed to do it, but the result was, under his manipulation, Imperial Court Blessed Land no longer suffered from heavenly tribulations or earthly calamities. Hiss hiss hiss. After flying for an hour, past numerous towers, Fang Yuan was provoked by a giant python on a small valley. This bright red giant python was at least 100 meters long, its body was as thick as a tower. There was a sharp horn on its head, a pair of blood eyes stared at Fang Yuan fixatedly, hissing with its tongue continuously. Its tongue was a creepy purple color, and there were eerie blue flames on it. It's a rarely seen eerie fire dragon python. Fang Yuan was slightly shocked. At this moment, the giant python opened its mouth, and shot out a carriage-sized blue-purple flame. The flame approached quickly, as the temperature in the air rose sharply. From a few hundred steps away, Fang Yuan's hair and eyebrows were showing signs of drying up. It showed the terrifying temperature of the blue-purple flame. Fang Yuan's eyebrows rose as he flapped his eagle wings, going to a higher altitude and avoiding the flame easily. Killer move, Four-Arm Wind King. He activated more than 10 GU worms at once. His crystal purple was expending rapidly, meanwhile 2 bronze arms grew out of his body. Thereafter, he flew down like a comet, straight towards the python. Bam! He crashed fiercely into the eerie fire dragon python, engaging in fierce combat with it. At once, smoke rose as shockwaves were sent out, flames shot out as the valley shook. Eerie fire dragon python was a mutated beast king. Mutated beasts has rank 4 battle strength, while their king had strength equivalent to a rank 5 GU master. But Fang Yuan was rank 5 peak stage long ago, and after using his killer move, his battle strength was even higher. If the eerie fire dragon python laid low and hid itself, Fang Yuan might not have noticed it while being on the move. But since it provoked him on purpose, Fang Yuan felt the urge to hunt and improve his killer move by using it as a training dummy. After half an hour, the battle was over. Fang Yuan's body was charred black. He stood in the completely destroyed and ruined valley. The eerie fire dragon python's huge body was half covered in broken mountain rocks. Fang Yuan coughed a few times, throwing up some blood. The improved killer move had much less severe aftermath than before. A part of the reason was that the eerie fire dragon python did not have wisdom like humans. It could not find out Fang Yuan's weakness amidst battle. If the wind was restricted, Fang Yuan would be in a much worse state. This battle was not easy. Imperial Court Blessed Land was a great environment. There were many GU worms, thus there was a larger number of Fire Path wild GU worms on the eerie fire dragon python. Among them, there were several valuable ones. Fang Yuan's killer move was strong, but it did not have much defense against Fire Path. If he did not need to dodge the flames, the 30-minute battle would be faster by at least a third. Fang Yuan started collecting his loot. This mutated beast king's body was full of value. For example, the python blood was a top ingredient in feeding blood path GU worms. The python skin, tendons etc., would cause a huge commotion if sold in the mortal market. Especially the eerie fire snake gall, it was extremely valuable. It could even be sold in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Fang Yuan organized his gains. In order to save time, he only kept the valuable items in his GU. Eerie fire dragon python, they live in caves as a family. If there are any young dragon pythons, I can capture them and place them inside Immortal Blessed Land to breed. It would be a good investment for the future. Fang Yuan thought about this and searched around. Very soon, he made a discovery. There's a GU master inheritance here. Fang Yuan did not find a baby dragon python, but found a bright red rock, like that of a fire lotus. With his expertise, he quickly understood that this was a GU master's work. When he got close to the huge rock, this fire lotus-like rock opened up in layers, like a blossoming lotus. The fire lotus rock opened completely, showing the GU worms inside as well as the steel. The steel was one with the huge rock. There were Northern Plains words on it. Fang Yuan read it thoroughly and understood its existence. The Fire Path GU master who left behind his inheritance was called Huo Zhengjun. He was a righteous rank 4 Fire Path GU master. He entered this valley by accident, and was attacked by the eerie fire dragon python. Before dying from his injuries, he left behind his GU worms helplessly and made the inheritance. In the future, if a fated individual comes here, then this set of GU worms would be his. Huo Zhengjun left behind 7 GU worms. But after these years, 4 died, and only 3 remained. Among the 3 GU worms, only one attracted Fang Yuan. It was the rank 4 Fire Pupil GU. When a GU master uses Fire Pupil GU, fire would burn at anywhere they looked at, burning their opponents. Such a convenient attacking method often caught people off guard. But it had its weaknesses. If it was used for a long time, the GU master's eyes would be damaged. They would need to use good healing GU as well as complementing GU worms to weaken this side effect. This fire pupil GU was Huo Zhengjun's core GU worm. Aside from the GU worms he left behind, there were GU recipes that he recorded on the steel. Fang Yuan looked at it 3 times, storing the information inside East Window GU. Although he did not cultivate Fire Path, these recipes were useful for him when researching about GU refinement or even in his cultivation, as a form of inspiration. Especially the refinement recipe of the Fire Pupil GU, it had high value. According to this GU master, Rank 4 Fire Pupil GU was advanced using Rank 3 Fire Eye GU, together with Sight Blow GU and some associated GU refinement materials. Fang Yuan knew about Rank 3 Fire Eye GU, it was a one-time expenditure GU used for investigative purposes. It could transform the eyes into fire eyes, having the ability to see through fog, but it did not work every time. Once it failed, one would turn blind. Fang Yuan knew about Sight Blow GU too. Hao Jilu from the He tribe army had one. He had once used it together with Rank 4 Location Swap GU. Fang Yuan kept the Fire Pupil GU, he did not intend to go on to the Fire Path. Fire Pupil GU did not suit his current style. While the attacking method was convenient, it was very restrictive, it was too reliant on visual contact. There were too many strange GU in this world, there were countless methods to prevent eye contact. There was no strongest GU worm, only strongest GU master. GU worms were the hosts of the Great Tao, they were fundamentally tools. When GU master used them together, they could form great effects. Some combinations were even far superior and harder to counter, they were known as killer moves. This means, this should be the first GU master inheritance I've obtained in Imperial Court Blessed Land. Fang Yuan thought about it, feeling interested. In Imperial Court Blessed Land, there were countless GU master inheritances. It was because of the superb environment. In contrast, many inheritances in the main world were often destroyed by calamities and beasts before the fated person arrives. Furthermore, all the GU masters that entered Imperial Court Blessed Land were experts that had undergone tough battles, they had to have at least some superior qualities if they were not heroes or grand conquerors already. Thus, there were abundant inheritances inside Imperial Court Blessed Land. Anyone who was fated would have gains. Fang Yuan kept the 3 GU worms inside his aperture, before smashing the steel to bits. Next, he searched around, finding a cave indeed. He entered the cave and walked to the lowest part of it. At about 100 meters underground, he found 6 eerie fire dragon python eggs. He was troubled now. If it was a baby eerie fire dragon python, he could bring them away to Immortal Blessed Land and allow them to hunt freely. But it was not easy to hatch an eerie fire dragon python's egg. He needed to use eerie fire and python blood to bathe them daily. After the little dragon python hatches, they need to taught by the eerie fire dragon python personally, on how to use their strength to hunt. Fang Yuan did not have the time or effort to waste just to hatch these eggs. There was no choice, he quickly kept these eggs before getting out of the hot cave, flying towards the sky and continuing on his journey without any lingering feelings. Chibi General, I would make scrambled eggs out of them. Chapter 549. Chapter 549. Subduing Azure Wolves with the help of Snow Bats. Just like this, Fang Yuan flew for another 3 days, but could not see even a glimpse of the sacred palace on the plains. Fang Yuan thought to himself, it seems that I was transported very far away after entering Imperial Court Blessed Land. Otherwise with my speed, I would have reached the sacred palace within 3 days. On the way, Fang Yuan met many GU masters and mortals. They were He Tribe Alliance members. After entering the Blessed Land, those with ability would gather at the sacred palace. Those who did not would choose a place and settle down. Imperial Court Blessed Land was not safe, there were large numbers of wild GU worms and vicious beasts. He Tribe army came here and destroyed their order, disturbing the beasts and worms which had already sorted out their territory. Thus, conflict and killing was natural. But all in all, the environment was infinitely better than the outside world, which was face a fierce blizzard. Fang Yuan had seen several slaughtering scenes along the way. Some were beast group corpses, some were humans with broken limbs. Imperial Court Blessed Land had much greater foundation than Immortal Blessed Land. There was no weather changes in Immortal Blessed Land, but Imperial Court Blessed Land had it. In fact, Imperial Court Blessed Land had morning and night. This might not be spectacular in mortal eyes, because in northern plains, there was also day and night, they were used to it. Only someone like Fang Yuan would understand the true value of this. It was very rare for blessed land to have weather changes. If there was day and night, it meant that this particular heaven and earth had sufficiently deep foundations, at least, the time path law here was quite complete. Normally, blessed land with astronomical phenomenon were first-rate blessed lands. Fang Yuan's immortal blessed land had not reached this level yet. Day and night was the characteristic of grotto heavens. Blessed lands were small worlds. Above blessed lands, there were even more complete and refined small worlds, they were grotto heavens. Imperial court blessed land already had the characteristics of a grotto heaven, it could be said to be a quasi-grotto heaven. Langya blessed land was originally a grotto heaven that fell, by now, it had lost its day and night trait. Night descended. Fang Yuan looked at the sky, it turned from a glorious gold color to a light and elegant silver. The daytime in Imperial Court blessed land was a dazzling golden day. At night, it was not completely dark, as silver light shine in the sky. Flying in the air, Fang Yuan witnessed the changing of the sky. Silver light rained down, compared to the hot and dazzling golden rays during daytime, it had traces of sharpness to it. Fang Yuan's flying speed was slowing down, he looked down and after searching for a while, he found a gentle slope. With his years of experience, he knew that the gentle slope was a great place to set up camp. But he was in no hurry to descend, he circled around the slope several times, like a bird flying freely. Eventually, when he confirmed that this area was safe, he landed and kept his wings. The strong eagle wings were pitch black like steel. After Fang Yuan stopped using Eagle Rise GU, the wings vanished into thin air, as one or two black feathers were left floating in the air, landing on the grass. Fang Yuan willed and activated Big Lizard House GU. Immediately, a mystical light shot out from his aperture, landing in front of him. The light expanded and grew, as a Big Lizard House GU eventually appeared. The lizard opened its mouth and shot out its tongue, showing the door in its mouth. The tongue was like a red carpet ladder, as Fang Yuan stepped on it, the door opened automatically. After he entered the Lizard House GU, the door closed on its own, as the lizard closed its huge mouth without a gap. Although Fang Yuan was energetic, he was still of mortal body. When fatigue accumulates to a degree, he will need to rest to ensure that he stays at peak condition in terms of mind and body. Chi. After Fang Yuan got into the lizard house, he heard some noises outside. His gaze concentrated as he muttered, "As expected, it is the blissful snow bats." Fang Yuan had already understood the rules. When day turns to night, large groups of blissful snow bats would fly out. The blissful snow bats were pure white like snow, they were furry and did not look ugly like ordinary bats, in fact they were rather cute. Such a beast group was huge in scale, each group had about several hundreds of thousands of bats. Among them were beast kings, and myriad beast kings were very common, there were even snow bat beast emperors. Even with Fang Yuan's dual aperture and killer move like Four-Arm Wind King, he could not fight against them, he could only avoid them. The snow bats only hunted in the air, eating the particles in the air or flying worms. The Big Lizard House GU was not part of their food chain. But because of Fang Yuan's vigilance, he moved the Big Lizard House GU to the back of the slope. The big lizard curled up into a ball, from the sky, it resembled a huge rock. Fang Yuan was on the bed as he slept, but before long, the cries of the blissful snow bats became very erratic, as wolf howls could be heard as well. What's going on? Fang Yuan was woken up by this noise, he opened his eyes and got up from bed, going to the window. Only to see that in the silvery backdrop, two beast groups were fighting. The snow-white lump had a grand scale, it was the blissful snow bats. As for the dark green lump, it was a pack of azure wolves, although they were fewer in numbers, they fought fiercely and had great cooperation. Although they were many snow bats, under the wolves' attacks, they suffered huge losses. Fang Yuan's brows lifted, feeling slightly shocked. Azure Wolf had a trace of the desolate beast Heavenly Wolf's bloodline, thus it could float in mid-air even as a cub. A mature Azure Wolf can use this talent to its limits, able to run freely in the air. Azure Wolves were elites, they were different from ordinary wolf groups. Among the Azure Wolf group, each Azure Wolf was at least 100 Beast King. Azure Wolf groups were often small, but they had great battle strength. But regardless of how strong a wolf group is, they cannot withstand the trial of time, and the trials of mortality. Right now, in Northern Plains sky, barely any Azure Wolves could be seen. They were getting rarer, going to be extinct soon. However, as the largest blessed land in northern plains, Imperial Court blessed land had such a huge-scaled Azure Wolf group, it was not a surprise. The wolves got more energetic as they fought, as the bat group gradually got into a disadvantage. After leaving behind several tens of thousands of corpses, they escaped. The Azure Wolves did not have many deaths. Most of the Azure Wolves landed on the ground and started consuming the bat corpses. Some of them remained in the air, looking around and staying vigilant. Fang Yuan's heart was moved. After entering the blessed land, my wolf group had scattered. Imperial Court blessed land is too wide, I cannot gather them here in such a short time. This Azure Wolf group is really timely. Not only can they fly to keep up with my pace, they can even protect me. In the future when we encounter bat groups, we can just charge through. At the same time, several wolves found Fang Yuan's big lizard house GU and surrounded it. Fang Yuan left the GU house immediately and kept the big lizard house GU, charging towards the myriad beast king in the sky. The wolf group went into a commotion as they attacked Fang Yuan from all directions. But the Azure Wolves which had just eaten were moving sluggishly, their battle intent had also decreased severely. This was the best time for Fang Yuan to subdue the myriad wolf king. Fang Yuan snickered, he turned left and right, making circles in the air. With his flying master attainment, these Azure Wolves could only chase after him fruitlessly. The myriad wolf king that Fang Yuan was going after was different from the other two myriad wolf kings. In the earlier battle, it had charged ahead and sustained some injuries as well as losing some wild GU on it. Fang Yuan had paid close attention to it earlier, and knew all the wild GU worms currently on it. Going up to the myriad wolf king, Fang Yuan activated the killer move Four-Arm Wind King and thrashed the wolf king. This unlucky myriad wolf king was beaten into a daze by Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan used this chance to activate rank 5 wolf enslavement GU, subduing it. Once it joined Fang Yuan, it howled and a third of the Azure Wolf group changed sides along with it. Fang Yuan laughed loudly. It was dangerous to subdue a myriad wolf king under the attack of the wolf group, but now that he had succeeded, the situation was different. With the wolf group, the situation was overturned. Under Fang Yuan's manipulation, the wolf group attacked from left and right, cooperating with him and surrounding the second Azure myriad wolf king. The wild wolf group attacked furiously, as Fang Yuan used his wolf group to form a line of defense, protecting himself. He himself engaged with the myriad wolf king. After 15 minutes, Fang Yuan subdued the second myriad wolf king. Victory was assured. The final myriad wolf king saw this and immediately ran, bringing its subordinates to escape with it. Fang Yuan first stopped his bleeding and checked his own injuries. After checking the battlefield, he kept the big lizard house GU and shifted the campsite. This area was filled with the intense smell of blood. Quickly, waves and waves of beast groups were attracted. If Fang Yuan continued staying there, he would be disturbed endlessly. About 10 li away, he rested for 4 hours before flapping his wings and continuing his journey. But different from before, Fang Yuan was now surrounded by 2 Azure myriad wolf kings, 38,000 beast kings, and 25600 beast kings. It was a huge force. In the blink of an eye, 6 days of traveling went by. In this process, Fang Yuan found 3 inheritances. They were small inheritances, however, in Fang Yuan's eyes, they were as good as nothing. What was worth mentioning was, the wolf group expanded. With the foundation of 2 Azure myriad wolf kings, another was subdued. This way, Fang Yuan had 3 Azure myriad wolf kings under his control. Imperial Court blessed land was a true land of treasures. There were huge beast groups within, and even the rare Azure wolf was a common species here. Other than the Azure wolves, Fang Yuan subdued batches of night wolves, wind wolves, turtleback wolves, and vermilion flame wolves along the way. These wolves were originally his to begin with, except that they were scattered after entering the blessed land. Fang Yuan had only found a small portion of them by now. Chibi General, so now he's basically Santa, except that instead of giving out presents, he takes them. Chapter 550 Poet Immortal's Demise on Xingju Peak. Chapter 550 Poet Immortal's Demise on Xingju Peak. 2 days later, a high mountain peak protruded Fang Yuan's vision. The deep blue mountain was like a lone vulture with a bizarre shape. Fang Yuan was somewhat startled as his gaze became suffused with joy. This should be Xingju Peak. It seems my direction is correct. According to Gu Immortal Lord Tian Ku's description in the past life, the place where the vulture's gaze falls in is the sacred palace. Immortal Court blessed land had a lofty and holy position in the hearts of Northern Plains people, and was a spiritual symbol. It was also a cradle which had nurtured many Northern Plains GU Immortals in the Imperial Court contests before. When Central Continent invaded Northern Plains, they had first attacked this significant strategic location. Due to the lack of preparations, Immortal Court-blessed land was breached by the alliance of Central Continent's GU Immortals, and the sacred palace was ruthlessly destroyed, turning into a ruin. 88 Truyong building was also destroyed, vanishing in the surging river of history, and causing people to sigh while wringing their wrist. Lord Tien Ku was one of the GU Immortals who participated in the surprise attack against Immortal Court-blessed land. Fang Yuan made his plan by referencing the surprise attack methods of the Central Continent's GU Immortals. There are people on Xingju Peak. When Fang Yuan was about to cross the Xingju Peak with his wolf group, he suddenly paused as he saw many GU masters at the summit of the peak, among were familiar people as well. His thoughts moved and decided to not hurry on his way, but instead descended to the Xingju Peak with his wolf group. Pan Ping greets Lord Wolf King. Brother Shan Yin, we meet again. Looking at the Wolf King descending, the GU masters all felt their hearts shiver. From among them, 2 GU masters walked out. One was Pan Ping, who had become rich and famous with this time's imperial court content, while the other was one of the twin demons Tai Bai Yun Sheng invited, Zhu Zai. Pan Ping was now already at rank 4 peak stage, and with Soul Blade GU, his battle strength could match against some rank 5 GU masters. Zhu Zai was a strength path rank 5 GU master and was an expert in close combat, thus he was much more fearful of Soul Blade GU than other people. He had been separated from Gao Yong when he entered Imperial Court, and on the way to the Sacred Palace, he got into an argument with Pan Ping. We greet Wolf King. After Pan Ping and Zhu Zai, the rest of the GU masters greeted one after another while kneeling on the ground. In Ma tribe army, Fang Yuan's prestige was raised to the highest status, and was recognized as the #1 person of this generation. His prestige suppressing He Lu Lan and even Yi Lui Sang, who had a fire path immortal GU. If not for Chang Shanyin not being of Huang Jin bloodline and He Lu Lan being the alliance leader, there might have been people who would have shouted to change the alliance leader. Stand up, there is no need to be so restrained. Fang Yuan was sitting on an azure myriad Wolf King as he lightly nodded and then directly asked, for you guys to gather here, what inheritance did you discover? Everyone inwardly grumbled. The truth was indeed so. At first, someone had discovered an inheritance in Xingju Peak, but did not have enough strength to get it. Helplessly, the GU master called for other GU masters to explore together. But the result was, they lost several people instead. The GU masters were now resigned to failure and searched all around for help, inviting Pan Ping and Zhu Zai one after another. The two, for their respective benefits, competed with each other, creating the situation to turn into a stalemate before finally Fang Yuan crashed in. Now, since Fang Yuan directly asked it, Pan Ping and Zhu Zai did not dare to hide it and could only explain this matter. Lord Wolf King, it is fortunate you are here. This inheritance opens every 7 days, and during the opening, it lets out a soaring high starlight and reveals a starlight door. This duration is not only extremely short, there are also insect groups that rush out of the starlight door, preventing us from entering. Pan Ping introduced with a slight smile. There is only a short time before the inheritance opens now. Lord Chang Shanyin, since you graced us with your presence, I represent all the GU masters here to request you to uphold justice. Zhu Zai said with sincerity on his face. The corners of Pan Ping's lips twitched as he glanced at Zhu Zai with extreme disdain. Zhu Zai's reputation of being a famous expert in the demonic path is laughable, he actually is going so far in his flattery. Pan Ping was filled with disdain towards Zhu Zai. Wolf King might be strong, but I, Pan Ping, will have a day when I can reach his level. Pan Ping was young, his heart still had arrogance, but he did not show it, instead lowering his head to show his respect towards Wolf King. He was a demonic path GU master and naturally was extremely clear of his current situation and understood the logic of being able to bow and submit. Fang Yuan straightforwardly agreed, immediately becoming the main person in charge here. As time gradually passed, everyone was indeed able to see starlight gradually filling the summit. When the time arrived, the starlight majestically soared up, piercing through the sky. A small door then slowly opened in the dazzling starlight. Bzzz. Large numbers of insect groups rushed out like a tide. These insect groups were of all kinds of colors with many wild GU mixed among them. Their stance was fierce, but they only hovered near the starlight door and did not pounce upon the people. Clearly, this was a test. Fang Yuan carefully observed before snickering, this insect group test was not difficult. Even without him, with the combined strength of the rest of the GU masters, they would be able to overcome this. However, Pan Ping and Zhu Zai's internal dispute caused the overall strength to be divided with other GU masters supporting different sides. No one conceded, which allowed Fang Yuan to take this opportunity. Fang Yuan glanced at Pan Ping and Zhu Zai. These two both had somewhat unsightly expressions right now. Fang Yuan did not care. Instead he sent an order. These insect groups are often more difficult to deal with than beast groups. All of you, listen to my arrangement, and we will be able to reduce the losses and deal with this easily. Everyone promptly agreed. Under Fang Yuan's command, they attacked in segments, drawing away the insect group and exterminating them. After a dozen or so breaths of time, most of the insect groups had been drawn away and the originally tight defense line now had a huge gap. Pan Ping said in joy, "Lord Wolf King is truly amazing. All of our eyes were obscured. Exterminating the insect groups is not important, the main thing was to open a passageway. With this, we will have plenty of time." Zhu Zai also sighed. "Having Lord Wolf King to lead us is our fortune." But Fang Yuan's next words shocked them. "You guys stay here to hold back the insect groups, don't make a mistake. I will make a trip inside." With that, he suddenly rushed to the starlight door with the wolf group. This Lord Wolf King. Zhu Zai's expression paled. He had not expected Fang Yuan to act so selfishly in the open. Pan Ping's eyes also opened wide as his heart filled with anger at the injustice. Under everyone's gazes, Fang Yuan first sent an azure wolf to investigate the inside, and seeing there were no dangers, he rode an azure wolf king and entered the door. Of course, he left behind a large number of azure wolves to form a defensive line around the entrance to protect his escape route. Didn't they say Wolf King was proud and aloof? How could he be so shameless? He is truly too overbearing. This inheritance was clearly discovered by us first, but now it was snatched by Chong Shanyin. Chong Shanyin has let down the name of the Grand Wolf King. He actually left us out here. The people present were all furious, but they did not dare to express their anger. Lord Pan Ping, should we also charge in? A rank 3 GU master rolled his eyes, then turned towards Pan Ping and urged him. Pan Ping snorted and sent this GU master flying with a kick, shouting fiercely, "If you want to go in, feel free." "What, you want me to test the water?" "Lord, you misunderstood, how could I dare?" The rank 3 GU master immediately retorted. "Get lost," Pan Ping angrily rebuked while clenching his fists tightly. He rigidly looked at the starlight door with sharp light flashing past his eyes. The gap that had been cleared was now jammed with azure wolves. There were 2 myriad wolf kings, dozens of thousand wolf kings, over 300 wolf kings, and even over 200 guarding the air. Pan Ping could not charge through this scale of wolves. His thoughts turned around and he then looked at Zhu Zai, speaking in a faint ridiculing tone. "This is the result of you wanting Wolf King to uphold justice." Zhu Zai coldly glanced at Pan Ping, immediately seeing through Pan Ping's thoughts. He snorted inwardly with disdain. This Pan Ping is still young and has been infected by hastiness gained from the recent fame. He actually wants to entice me to ally with him to break the wolf group's defense line. Too naive. Is Wolf King so easy to deal with? Even if Wolf King only left behind one ordinary night wolf, I would not dare to make a move. This brat simply overestimates his own abilities. Pan Ping furiously snorted as he saw Zhu Zai not answering him, and could only swallow the words that he had been about to speak. Fang Yuan arrived before a courtyard after entering the starlight door. The style of the courtyard was peculiar. It was completely constructed out of blue metal and its shape was strange and abstract, not belonging to any style of the 5 regions. Fang Yuan pushed upon the gate and entered. The courtyard was covered in a layer of thin light cotton, and appeared mysterious, quiet and magnificent. At first, Fang Yuan moved cautiously, but after searching around once, he did not find any mechanisms for tests or traps. The courtyard had 6 rooms, and Fang Yuan explored all of them. So over 100 years ago, this was the residence of Northern Plains' great poet Du Minjun. Fang Yuan received the entire inheritance left behind by the courtyard master and learned this person's identity. Du Minjun was a rank 5 GU master. He traveled alone and had never married in his whole life. He was called Vagrant Lone Star by people. He was the famous poet Immortal in Northern Plains, and his verses mostly portrayed the starry sky, his longing towards his hometown and his powerless struggle against fate. He was proud and noble, and separated himself from mortal affairs. He had been pursued by many Northern Plains women throughout his life, and there were even men who pursued him, but they were all heartlessly rejected by him. Future generations evaluated and praised him. He was immersed in his own world. Although he was in Northern Plains, his mind was in the starry sky. He was not a Northern Plains man, he was a poet. He was a poet immortal who was denounced to the mortal world from the starry sky. So Du Minjun eventually chose to suicide at this place. Fang Yuan sighed. Du Minjun was not able to endure the melancholy in his heart in the end. He built his final residence in Xingju Peak and ended his life of his own accord. What he had left behind were countless poems to be read and admired by the later generations. Du Minjun had outstanding talents and his inheritance was also extremely valuable. First of all was a emotion poetry GU. Emotion poetry GU was especially used to store emotions, and along with painting idea GU, was a wisdom path GU. It was extremely rare and very expensive. Then, there were large numbers of star path GU worms of all types. It basically had all the star path GU of northern plains. Fang Yuan was amazed at this. It seems Du Minjun had a fortuitous encounter, otherwise how could he have so many and such complete star path GU worms? He actually innovated an entire set of star GU recipes. Fang Yuan flipped through the recipes and realized how shockingly talented Du Minjun was. He founded a set of new GU, from rank 1, a bit of star GU, to rank 2, brilliance of 2 stars GU, rank 3, 3 stars in the sky GU, rank 4, 4 stars cube GU, to rank 5, 5 stars aligned GU. This set of GU worms was especially targeted star path GU and could raise star path GU's effects by a huge degree. It was equivalent to a non-mainstream amplify effect GU. But this set of GU worms had much higher success rate than amplify effect GU, moreover their refinement materials were extremely common. This meant, if this set of GU recipes was spread, it would definitely lead to a huge rise in popularity of star path GU and would have some amount of influence towards all GU master paths. Chapter 551 Educate Well. Chapter 551, Educate Well. Although I am not a star path GU master, if I refine this set of star GU, it would be a huge help in opening the Stargate and linking to Immortal blessed land. Fang Yuan could not help but feel a bit of joy in his heart. He had invested heavily earlier to nurture a batch of Starlight Firefly GU in his Immortal blessed land. He also got many air bubble fish to increase the Starlight Firefly GU's growth. But even so, the Starlight Firefly GU's expenditure was greater than its production. Every time the Stargate was opened, large numbers of Starlight Firefly GU would be used. But to nurture Starlight Firefly GU, a lot of time was needed. It was easier for Fang Yuan back in Northern Plains, when he could use the starlight in the sky for one of the two sides of the gate. But in Imperial Court blessed land, there was no starlight in the sky. Thus, to open the Stargate, he would needed to expend even more Starlight Firefly GU. But if he could refine this set of GU that could amplify the power of Star Path, one Starlight Firefly would be able to achieve the effects of a few. That way, he would have several times less expenditure than currently. Furthermore, this GU recipe is interesting. The thought process and viewpoint is different from the norm. It is like a deduction done using Earth's science and math. To think that poet Immortal was so knowledgeable, having such incredible ideas. Fang Yuan could see a portion of poet Immortal's wisdom from this GU recipe. Taking all that was valuable in these few rooms, Fang Yuan returned back to where he came from. Du Minjun was a righteous path GU master. His inheritance was naturally a righteous path inheritance. There was only one trial and was not difficult. When Fang Yuan returned to the mountain peak, the worm group that was troubling everyone had dispersed. Lord Chong Shanyin, you are finally back. I wonder what gains Lord had made inside. Pan Ping's expression was ominous as he walked up to Fang Yuan. His intention was obvious. You Wolf King took the meat, you have to at least leave us the soup, right? Ha ha ha, congrats Lord Wolf King, with this inheritance, you are like a tiger who gained wings. Zhu Zai cupped his fists and spoke, not mentioning anything related to splitting the gains. Fang Yuan nodded lightly. This inheritance was set by poet Immortal Du Minjun. There are still a lot of beautiful treasures left inside. You can go take it. Saying so, he sat on the azure myriad Wolf King and flew into the sky. Pan Ping saw him leaving and immediately shouted, Sir Chong Shanyin. We restrained the worm group for you painstakingly, yet you took all the best things inside the inheritance. According to the rules, you have to give us some compensation. Compensation? Fang Yuan stopped his wolf, floating in the air as he looked at this Soul Blade general with a half-smiling expression. What compensation do you want? Fang Yuan asked. Pan Ping expressionlessly requested, we can't determine what compensation to get yet. Why don't Lord show us the inheritance you obtained, so that we can evaluate it? He. Fang Yuan laughed, looking at Pan Ping amicably, look at this compensation, are you happy with it? Saying so, he willed and the azure wolf group surrounded Pan Ping from the ground and the sky tightly. Pan Ping's expression changed, He held onto his scimitar as he shouted, "Lord Wolf King, what are you doing?" Fang Yuan sat on the wolf back, looking down at Soul Blade General, snickering. Howl! The Azure Wolf group moved and charged at Pan Ping. Pan Ping's expression turned into shock as he blocked left and right, unleashing all his moves. He was a rank 4 peak stage cultivation. After getting much gains in the battles, he had high-quality GU worms that were a complete set. His battle strength far surpassed his previous state. But the Azure Wolves were not ordinary wolves. Each one was at least 100 Beast King. This meant that they each had large numbers of wild GU in them. After Pan Ping killed several Azure Wolves, he could not hold on anymore, bleeding profusely as he got into a desperate situation. "Lord Wolf King, you are too overbearing. We are of the same army, are you trying to kill me?" He shouted loudly, trying to suppress Fang Yuan using righteousness. The other GU masters had no idea what to do. Fang Yuan's overbearing attitude made them uncomfortable. But because of his strength, they did not dare to say anything. "Lord Wolf King, please calm down." Pan Ping did not know what was good for him. He verbally insulted Lord, but Lord is such a grand hero, why is there a need to put yourself at his level? Zhu Zai urged quickly. Pan Ping was He Lulan's beloved general. It is said that he was already part of He tribe. If he died here, when He Lulan pursues the matter, he might not do anything to Chong Shanyin, but he Zhu Zai would be doomed. Since Zhu Zai joined He tribe alliance army, he naturally wanted to join He tribe. "Zhu Zai, you're overthinking this, I am not angry." Fang Yuan smiled at Zhu Zai lightly, but the Azure Wolves were attacking even more fiercely under his manipulation. Zhu Zai's heart was anxious, but he was secretly shocked by Fang Yuan's ruthlessness. Over there, Pan Ping was in a critical state. He activated Soul Blade GU but could only defend himself. He could not break out of the wolves' encirclement. "Lord Wolf King, please have mercy. Pan Ping is going to die." Zhu Zai showed an expression of fear as he urged once again. Fang Yuan finally stopped his attack, sighing at Zhu Zai. "Sigh, I am not violent, but this junior does not know how to respect his seniors. If I do not teach him a lesson today, is he going to dance on my head in the future?" Yes, Lord is absolutely right." Zhu Zai quickly answered. Fang Yuan waved his hand and the Azure Wolves stopped attacking. They moved back but the encirclement was still present. Without the pressure of the wolves, Pan Ping collapsed on the ground. He was bathed in blood and covered in injuries. He breathed roughly as he stared at Fang Yuan with eyes filled with hatred. Fang Yuan saw his expression and laughed. "It seems you have not had enough. Maybe my lesson wasn't severe enough. Zhu Zai, what do you think?" Zhu Zai shuddered. He could see the overwhelming killing intent hidden in Fang Yuan's calm gaze. He quickly waved his hand. "Enough, it is enough. Pan Ping had received a sufficient lesson." Pan Ping quickly apologized to Lord Wolf King. Pan Ping clenched his fist. He gritted his teeth as he took a few deep breaths, closing his eyes and saying with much pain, "Lord Wolf King, I am sorry." He howled in his heart however. "Today's humiliation, I will return it to you 100-fold. Wolf King, remember this. I am not someone you can humiliate as you please." Pan Ping was a vigilant and low-profile person, but after the imperial court contest, the pride in the deep parts of his heart burst out. Especially in the battle against Lu tribe, he was first killed by 3 heads 6 arms, but was revived by Tai Bai Yunsheng later using man as before GU. Such a revival process made his nature change slightly, making him feel like he was a person blessed by the heavens. According to the rules, I should be allowed to check the gains from the inheritance. Wolf King, you are too overbearing, you will definitely regret all that you did today. Although you are strong now, it is only because you started cultivating several earlier than me. One day, I will catch up to you, surpass you, and return all this humiliation right back at you." Pan Ping screamed internally. Fang Yuan naturally had no idea what he was thinking, but he was not interested either. "If I kill him here, He Lulan would not pursue the matter with me. But this is a demonic act, it clashes with my identity. Furthermore, it does not benefit my future plans at all. I might as well leave this Pan Ping for the future." Pan Ping only had one Soul Blade GU which Fang Yuan had some interest in. If he was killed now, Fang Yuan would probably not receive the GU. Thus, Fang Yuan said, "Since you admitted your mistake, that is very good, it means you have noticed my hard work. A junior should behave like a junior, do you understand now?" Understood. Pan Ping shut his eyes, he was furious but he squeezed out the words. Fang Yuan snickered, he understood his feelings but he did not expose him, only continuing to say, "Very good. Since that is the case, compensate me. In order to educate you, I made quite a loss, look at my wolves, 15 corpses are lying here. What? Pan Ping opened his eyes out of pure rage. What, are you unwilling? Fang Yuan smiled lightly, looking at Pan Ping with an obvious expression of mockery, like a cat toying with a mouse. I am willing to. Pan Ping breathed in deeply, nodding his head as he accepted his fate. This is the attitude of a junior indeed. Fang Yuan chuckled, smiling gently and kindly. But in everyone's view, he looked extremely scary. It was all thanks to Lord Zhu Zai was smiling at the side. Of course. Fang Yuan nodded in agreement, smiling as he accepted this hypocritical flattery. He then looked around. What about you guys? Do you need some lessons too? Everyone quickly rejected him with pale expression, they were shuddering, obviously scared out of their wits. Fang Yuan laughed loudly, extorting all of Pan Ping's GU recipes and several of his GU worms. Pan Ping was extremely furious, the few GU that Fang Yuan chose were critical to his GU set, without them, his strength would fall by at least 2 levels. After toying around with Pan Ping, Fang Yuan felt the fun turning into boredom as he patted the wolf head, rising into the sky. That will be all, there are still rather good things inside, they are unique. Go ahead and take them. Everyone heard this and were revitalized. Many people thought, Lord Wolf King is truly righteous, it was natural for him to take the bulk of the meat, Lord Pan Ping was simply too small-hearted. Only until Fang Yuan and the Azure Wolf group vanished into the sky did everyone start moving towards the Starlight Door. According to seniority, Zhu Zai and Pan Ping were the first two to charge in. The two first entered a small courtyard, but only found Du Min Jun's original poems. As for GU worms, GU recipes, they were all swept away by Fang Yuan, not a trace of them were left. Lord Wolf King was right, these are really unique treasures. Zhu Zai held the poems in his hand as he laughed bitterly. Pan Ping, who was hopeful and wanted to get some benefits to recoup his losses, had a dark expression. Poo! Suddenly, he threw up a mouthful of blood as he fainted from anger. Several days later, with my current speed, the sacred palace should be close by. Fang Yuan rode on the Azure Myriad Wolf King's back, pondering to himself. Soon after, his gaze became fixed at an area on the ground below him. This terrain is so familiar, don't tell me. Chibi General, he saw a cliff. Chapter 552 Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Chapter 552, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Translator, Chibi General. Editor, Chibi General. Fang Yuan looked at the ground. He saw that there was a mound protruding high up above the ground. There were no forceful contours on the mound, there was an opening on it that showed a huge hole, like a tunnel underground. As for the surroundings of this mound, it was a huge swampy area. There were sparse trees in the swamp. On the southwest side, there was a river. The river water was not clear, but it was a very long river, both the start and end of the river were beyond Fang Yuan's field of vision. Light in the soil, shine up to 100,000 feet high, swimming in the sky for 100 li, praising plum fragrant snow. Looking at this scene, Fang Yuan could not help but think of this phrase in his mind. Is this Di Chu inheritance ground? Fang Yuan had a flash of inspiration as he felt dazed. Back then, he had obtained information about Di Chu inheritance from a fake gray-white stone slab. The painting idea GU on the gray-white stone slab etched this map into his brain. Thus, Fang Yuan had a clear memory of it, he could not forget it even if he tried. He flapped his wings and flew around it in the sky, confirming that this terrain was exactly as he remembered. So this is it. I was wondering before, an inheritance using terrain as a clue was not reliable. If this was outside in northern plains, the terrain could be easily changed or destroyed. But in Imperial Court blessed land, that would be a different case. Fang Yuan thought. This Imperial Court blessed land opened once every 10 years. The victors of the Imperial Court contest would enter and might change the terrain due to battles. However, when Imperial Court blessed land closes, the terrain slowly recovers. Until 10 years later, it would reopen after being restored to its original state. Di Chu inheritance, since it was set up inside Imperial Court blessed land, and even had an innovative idea of using a fake gray-white stone slab to do it, the owner definitely put in huge effort and time for this. The inheritance should not be bad. With such thoughts, Fang Yuan slowly flew to the mound. After observing the mound's entrance for a while, he summoned several azure wolves and entered the dark hole. 15 minutes later, the azure wolf returned to Fang Yuan unscathed. This deep hole looked pitch black from the outside, but once someone entered, they would realize that it was full of glowing moss, it was not dark at all. There was nothing inside the hole, the air was moist and there were only rocks and moss. Fang Yuan personally entered to check it out, but still found nothing. He frowned slightly, leaving the place. He was prepared for this result long ago. This inheritance is not simple. If it can easily obtained, others would have gotten it long ago. Of course, I cannot rule out the possibility that someone else got it before me. But Fang Yuan analyzed and realized that the possibility of that was very low. To come here, there are two conditions. One is to obtain the clue to the inheritance, and decipher the gray-white stone slab. A GU master skilled at appraisal is needed to do it. Secondly, they need to enter Imperial Court Blessed Land. That means they need to survive the Imperial Court contest, thus they need to have a keen eye, in order to be part of the victors. This inheritance is not simple at all. It seems that to get it, I will need to interpret the cipher. Fang Yuan concluded. Light in the soil, shine up to 100,000 feet high, swimming in the sky for 100 li, praising plum fragrant snow. What was this cipher trying to say? Fang Yuan thought about it but he got no answers. Even though he had many thoughts, none of them lead to any conclusive ideas. Never mind, I'll leave it at that. There is still some time left inside Imperial Court Blessed Land. Fang Yuan flapped his wings and flew, bringing the wolf group with him towards the Blessed Land's central sacred palace. That was the most important part of his plan. He spent so much time disguising himself, it was all in order to enter Imperial Court Blessed Land. Obtaining landscape as before GU was his top priority, but other than that, it was the inheritance of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable inside 88 Truyong building. Not just him, most of the strong GU masters would choose to go to the Sacred Palace. The Sacred Palace was the central area of Imperial Court Blessed Land. It was the essence of the Blessed Land. The Sacred Palace was one of the 4 resting chambers of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. It was also his most important resting chamber. His other chambers were in Eastern Sea, Western Desert and Southern Border. In Central Continent, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had an even larger and grander resting chamber in the sky. It was situated within Longevity Heaven. In history, there were 10 rank 9 GU masters, known as Immortal Venerable and Demon Venerable. These 10 existed across the long river of time, from the immemorial Antiquity era to the remote Antiquity era, to the Olden Antiquity era, to the medieval Antiquity era, and finally, the late Antiquity era. Each one of them was the absolute expert of their time. They were unparalleled and invincible in the world. At the same time, they each had their specialities and unique abilities. They were all very different. The bloodthirsty spectral soul demon Venerable, the mysterious red lotus demon Venerable, the knowledgeable star constellation Immortal Venerable, the peaceful paradise earth Immortal Venerable. Similarly, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was also a person full of legends and incredible stories. He was a demonic path GU master born of Northern Plains. He was always lucky and fortunate in his life, having lots of good events. Not only could he avoid dangers, he could even turn them into blessings. After he became a demonic path GU immortal, he was a Casanova and toyed with women everywhere. No one could restrain him. Even the #1 fairy of Spirit Affinity House in Central Continent back then, one of the top 10 sects, became his wife. Because of that, he became an external supreme elder of Spirit Affinity House, and converted over to the righteous path. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had a dissolute nature. After becoming an Immortal Venerable, and ascending to the Immortal Court, he became the 4th generation Immortal King. He next built 5 great resting chambers, and had over several tens of millions of concubines. He was extremely energetic. When he was 1,000 years old, he was still taking in young girls from all over the world to expand his harem. Thus, among all of the Venerables, he had the most offsprings. He had too many children, he could not even remember most of their names. These children were spread all over the 5 regions. Right now, they were mostly concentrated in Northern Plains, and those GU masters who had Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's bloodline were collectively known as the Huang Jin family. Women are like clothes while brothers are like our hands and feet. Hereditary monarchy. Beauty is the natural dowry of a woman. I wish I could marry every single woman in the world. All these were his catchphrases. Even though time flowed mercilessly, and eras changed, he still left behind a dazzling proof of his glorious existence in history. Especially in Northern Plains, Huang Jin family controlled nearly the entire region. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable was still influencing every generation thus far. Sacred Palace, the central control hall. Night. The silvery brilliant light shone on He Lulan's face. He raised his head as he looked at a plaque on the central control hall. His giant bear-like body stood upright under the silver light. As the alliance leader, with the Huang Jin bloodline flowing in him, once he entered Imperial Court Blessed Land, he would automatically arrive in the Sacred Palace. This plaque in the central control hall was huge. It was 60 meters long, 25 meters wide, and there were 2 huge words on it, Hereditary Monarchy. The golden light shining off it was clear and dazzling. The central control hall was huge and grand, like the house of a giant. Under this plaque, even He Lu Lan's fat body seemed tiny. Hereditary Monarchy, huh? He looked with a complicated expression. There was pain and hatred, admiration, anger, and aloofness. Lord, cunning gentleman Sun Shihan came over, calling out softly. What is the matter? He Lu Lan turned around. His expression had been completely sealed away. He returned to his usual arrogant, boorish, and irritable attitude. Cunning gentleman did not feel anything amiss as he took out a letter from his pocket, reporting, "This is Soul Blade General Pan Ping's letter." He said in the letter that Wolf King Chong Shan Yin devoured an inheritance alone, extorting him in public and made very vile actions. He hopes Lord can seek justice for him. Oh, He Lu Lan stretched out his fat right arm. Cunning gentleman quickly passed the letter to him with both hands. Lord, I am not trying to be nosy, but this Chong Shan Yin is getting more overbearing. He actually bullied and humiliated his own alliance mate. Sigh, Lord Pan Ping was too kind-hearted. He thought about old relationships and wanted to share an inheritance with Chong Shan Yin. But the result was that he was treated like this. Wolf King Chong Shan Yin has great merits indeed, but this does not mean he can act as he wish. Otherwise, if everyone was like him, wouldn't we be in complete chaos? Cunning gentleman carefully chose his words while He Lu Lan was reading the letter. He Lu Lan snorted, stretching out his hand. Hand it over. Ah, Lord, you mean? Cunning gentleman was shocked. This is only Pan Ping's side of the story. Zhu Zai should have sent a letter too. He Lu Lan had a sharp gaze. Cunning gentleman quickly laughed. Lord is truly wise and mighty. I am in complete awe. He Lu Lan took the second letter and swept through the content. He was expressionless and Sun Shihan could not read his intentions at all. This letter was merely Zhu Zai seeking credit for his actions. Combined with the first letter, He Lu Lan understood what had happened. He squeezed with his hand and the 2 letters were corroded into nothingness by a dark light. After Pan Ping and the others arrive, go to the supply camp and give them some compensation. He Lu Lan instructed. Yes, Lord. Cunning gentleman bowed, but after a while, he raised his head in confusion as He Lu Lan did not speak further. Are we not punishing that Wolf King Chong Shan Yin? Punish? What a joke. He Lu Lan laughed. Why do I need to punish him? If it was me, I would have done the same. Except I would not do it in such an ugly way. Sun Shihan was indignant, urging, Lord, I am of different opinions. This Wolf King Chong Shan Yin regards himself highly and is untamable. We cannot tolerate his actions. Although he has great achievements, without Lord's tribe funding him, would he have such a huge wolf group? He is a Northern Plains hero. He has great reputation. If Lord does not punish him, he is just going to become more overbearing. In fact, he might even overthrow you and in the end, everyone would know the name of Chong Shan Yin, but not Lord's name. Ha ha ha, Lord, why are you laughing? Shihan, you're overthinking it. After this happened, what reputation would Chong Shan Yin still have? Bullying the weak because he is strong, greedily taking an inheritance for himself, it would ruin his reputation. Furthermore, he does not have the Huang Jin bloodline. Without a guest token, he cannot enter the Truyong building. After pausing for a while, He Lu Lan continued, from this matter, we can see that Chong Shan Yin is only a mortal. He has desires, and greed, that makes things easy. Moreover, I have Chong tribe and Jie tribe in my hands now. He is already rank 5 peak stage, such a genius like him would definitely want to progress further. But I will only reveal to him the method to reach Gu Immortal Realm after he joins He tribe. I know you hate Chong Shan Yin, but later, I still need him when challenging Truyong building. Do not bother me in the future with such tiny matters. Do you understand? Yes, Lord. Cunning gentleman lowered his head, his voice slightly trembling. You may leave. This subordinate takes his leave. Sun Shihan brought his disappointment with him as he left the central control hall. Chapter 553 Imperial Court Sacred Palace. Chapter 553 Imperial Court Sacred Palace. The wind was blowing past the ears. In the golden sky, brilliant rays were shining down. The Azure Wolf group moved in the sky, as Fang Yuan rode the Azure Wolf King, allowing the wind to blow his hair backwards. His gaze was solemn, he was pondering internally. These days, he had been trying to decipher the quote from Di Chu Inheritance, but he was making no progress. A glorious palace gradually appeared in his vision, emerging from the plain horizon. Sensing this, Fang Yuan looked over as he swept the scattered thoughts in his mind away. A trace of relief flashed past his face. Sacred Palace, he was finally there. As Fang Yuan got closer, the large palace slowly showed its full features. It had 8 levels, each was about 2 kilometers tall. The first level, which was the bottom level, had the greatest surface area. The second level was above the first level, and so on. Each level had walls around it, forming a hollow tube. The snow-white walls were 9 meters thick, the walls were joined together with no gaps. On the walls, there were rainbow colors towers at set intervals. Each tower had different colors, red, orange, yellow, green, azure, blue, purple, respectively. After many levels were stacked together, the entire sacred palace looked like a tall mountain. As Fang Yuan got closer, it was as if the sacred palace was rising from the ground, shooting up and piercing the heavens. Grand and spectacular, the sacred palace. Even with Fang Yuan's depth of knowledge, he was gasping in admiration when he saw this. What's that thing flying in the sky? Wolf King has arrived. Just like what the information said, that should be the Azure Wolf group. Fang Yuan's arrival attracted the attention of the GU masters inside the sacred palace. At this point, there were almost 10,000 people in the sacred palace. These people were lucky. After entering the blessed land, they landed close to the sacred palace. Thus, they were earlier than Fang Yuan. He Lu Lan had given instructed already, thus the GU master tasked to welcome him quickly reacted. When Fang Yuan landed, there were already people standing at the huge gate of the first level. The moment Fang Yuan's myriad Wolf King touched the ground, the escort GU master came to greet him. Lord Wolf King, you have arrived. It is my honor to bring you into the city. Your place as residence is on the 8th level, we have already prepared the room for you. No rush, bring me around the place first. Fang Yuan said lightly, getting off the Azure Wolf. As a form of respect to Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, GU masters were not allowed to ride their steed inside the sacred palace, they could only walk. As you wish, Lord, this is my honor. Fang Yuan followed the escort GU into the sacred palace. Inside the sacred palace, there were large numbers of pavilions and terraces, palaces and courtyards. Looking from outside, the edges of the roof were curved outside, they were silver and golden in color, looking magnificent and grand. All sorts of buildings were interconnected. At some places, there was lots of free space and buildings were huge. At some places, the pathways were intercrossed and halls were everywhere, making it easy to get lost. As for the interior of the pavilion hall, be it the pillars or the main support, they were carved with lots of beautiful images and decorations, it radiated an aura of prosperity. Lord, this is Entertainment Palace, the noble ancestor Giant Sun would hold a grand music festival here in this palace daily when he lived here. According to history, during each festival, there would be large numbers of concubines fighting to present their dance, in order to get ancestor Giant Sun's attention. Lord, this is Spring Soup Hall, it has the largest hot spring in northern plains. Ancestor Giant Sun would come here weekly with 1,000 concubines, to soak in the water and have fun. This is Floating Scent Yard, ancestor Giant Sun had once moved the legendary, wine pool, and, meat forest, here. Every morning, the meat forest would produce all sorts of delicious meat fruits. At night, the wine pool would produce lots of fragrant wine. The escort GU master introduced each area they went to, he was very eloquent. Fang Yuan walked casually, looking around, he found it very interesting. At the sacred palace's 4th level, the escort GU master brought Fang Yuan into the main palace. Lord, this is one of the 8 main palaces of Sacred Palace, Drawing Palace. Ancestor Giant Sun was very talented, he was very skilled at drawing beauties. All of the drawings inside this palace were done by him alone. Please come this way. The escort GU master opened the side door of the palace, inviting Fang Yuan in. The 8 main palaces of Sacred Palace had main doors, but only Giant Sun Immortal Venerable could use them. Although he was dead already, this rule was passed down, and his descendants followed this rule as a form of respect and reverence towards Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Once they entered the palace, a large wall of drawings filled Fang Yuan's vision. There were nothing in this drawing palace, but huge walls. On these walls, there were all sorts of beauties, alluring ones, innocent ones, smiling ones, or those deep in thought. They were in all sorts of postures and positions, there were 80,000 drawings. Those that were drawn here were well liked by ancestor Giant Sun for a period of time. Of course, it is a woman's greatest honor to be hand-drawn by a venerable. Ancestor Giant Sun had lots of concubines, but those recorded here were the cream of the crop, they could be preserved eternally here. The escort GU master said with a look of admiration. Fang Yuan did not speak, he only looked and thought to himself, I wouldn't call this eternally. At least in my previous 500 years, Imperial Court Blessed Land was destroyed by Central Continent GU Immortals and the Sacred Palace became history. Sigh, true immortality is something that not even someone as strong as an immortal venerable could achieve. When people came here, they would be stunned by the Sacred Palace's grand and imposing aura, even if they were not overwhelmed, they would feel great admiration. But Fang Yuan could sense a trace of decay and rot in this brilliance. Without eternal life, so what if you were as strong as a venerable? Even the Casanova giant sun had turned into ashes now. His traces were still here, proving his existence, but in Fang Yuan's opinion, such a proof was filled with the mockery of failure, it was truly pitiful. His interest had waned. Let's go, bring me to the 8th level's accommodation. Fang Yuan sighed, instruction. The escort GU master got out of his daze and said hesitantly, but Lord, Sacred Palace has a lot of famous sights, we just started. Other than these, there are also Beauty Palace, Young Girl Palace, Alluring Palace, Innocent Palace, and Unique Scent Palace. Back then, female variant humans lived there, there were even hairy men. There is also Jade Statue Palace, meant to sculpt beauties, and offer them to the ancestor. The escort GU master was anxious, all these places that he mentioned were not accessible with his status. He wanted to use this chance to satisfy his curiosity. But Fang Yuan did not fulfill his wish. During Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's final years, he rarely went to the mortal realm to stay in Sacred Palace. He lived in Longevity Heaven, in a reclusive manner. As for Northern Plains, large numbers of girls would be chosen for him to fill the Sacred Palace. The last time Giant Sun Immortal Venerable came to the Sacred Palace, he did not meet these girls, instead he built the 88 Truyong building and established the rules for the Imperial Court contest, before vanishing from this world completely. The Sacred Palace thus faded out of history and those beautiful yet pitiful women became sparrows trapped in cages. Although Imperial Court Blessed Land was huge, it had no freedom, it was a prison even though the place was large. Eventually, they stayed there obediently and exhausted their lifespan. They could not escape, and no one had the guts to save them either. Under Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's glorious and noble light, countless women were buried in pain, grudge, and sadness. In Fang Yuan's eyes, the Sacred Palace did not have high value. It was merely Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's inheritance, no GU masters dared to set up their inheritance here. As for the precious resources he left behind, they had been taken by previous generations of GU masters already. Even the Central Continent GU Immortals who came later could not find anything valuable. The only thing valuable in the Sacred Palace was also the entire Imperial Court Blessed Land, no, more accurately, the most valuable thing in Northern Plains. That was at the peak of the 8th level, 88 Truyong building. As Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had suggested, the GU house made by Long Hair Ancestor personally. Rank 8 Immortal GU. But now was not the time. At the peak of the 8th level, it was complete emptiness. Only when the 10-year blizzard strike would the 88 Truyong building show up. In the following days, Fang Yuan lived in seclusion, cultivating as he waited for Truyong building to open. The Azure Wolf group was taken care of by others, he did not need to bother with it. During this period, Lu Lan sent people to invite him, and revealed the intention to recruit him to join He tribe, and become an external elder. Towards this suggestion, Fang Yuan said he needed to consider it. Although he showed a moved expression, he would definitely refuse this in this heart. Human skin GU could disguise him as Wolf King, but it was a mortal GU, the investigation of an immortal GU could expose him. The recruitment of external elders was a common trick used by Northern Plains super forces. This way, demonic path GU immortals could become righteous, and it would help the Huang Jin tribes greatly in managing Northern Plains. As for the incident on Xingju Peak, Lu Lan did not mention a word about it. There was a rumor growing however, that Wolf King was extremely overbearing, describing his actions on Xingju Peak as vile and evil, using his strength to suppress the weak. The description was extremely biased but it sounded very convincing. Fang Yuan laughed in his heart, someone was obviously trying to ruin his reputation behind the scenes. It is likely to be Pan Ping or Sun Shihan who has motives to do this, or even Lu Lan. But so what if my reputation turns sour? Back then, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had a terrible reputation, he was a demonic GU master who toyed with women all over the region. But now, he was a revered Immortal Venerable. When he expanded his harem, how many women's lives and happiness were ruined by him? But now, no one publicly accused him of anything. In this world, strength was everything. On Earth, one had to be mindful of rumors. It was easy to ruin a person's life with some malicious lies. But that was because they were all mortals. The laws of the world was different, individuals could not surpass the power of society. But here, it was different. That was one of the reasons why Fang Yuan loved this world. Half a month later, there was a water-like ripple in the golden sky. The entire land started shaking. Out of nowhere, there was wind as a piercing light shone at the peak of the sacred palace. The light lasted for 45 minutes, as it gradually dispersed. A tower appeared at a previously barren area. 88 Truyong Building. Chibi General Unique Scent Palace, Female Hairy Men, Giant Sun is truly a man of culture. Chapter 554 Plotting is difficult, living is tough. Chapter 554. Plotting is difficult, living is tough. It was a tower. Like a spring bamboo shoot, it was tall and slender and was upright. The tower's shape was vague with all kinds of gorgeous colors, like a body of colorful ink in the shape of a tower as it continually shook. This is the initial appearance of 88 Truyong Building, and only when the storm and snow covers the northern plains, and all the small towers of imperial court-blessed land sink to the ground, will each layer of 88 Truyong Building stabilize. Only then can one enter inside and explore. Fang Yuan stood at the entrance of his residence and looked to the direction of the dome. At this moment, there were shouts of jubilation and surprise in Sacred Palace. GU masters were cheering in high spirits while many mortals kneeled on the ground, praising the might of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. But even when 88 Truyong Building takes form completely, I won't be able to enter because I am not a descendant of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable and don't have his bloodline. If I want to enter inside, I would need Heilu Lan to get me a guest token. Well, there is no hurry. Is Truyong Building so easy to rush into? Heilu Lan will need external help like me sooner or later. After a while, Fang Yuan retracted his gaze and walked back to his room. As the door of the room closed, the sound of cheers from the outside immediately softened. Fang Yuan entered a secret room specially meant for cultivation and sat upright on a cushion. Both of my apertures have now already reached rank 5 peak stage. In regards to enslavement path, I have Azure Wolf Group, while with regards to strength path, I have Killer Move Forearm Wind King. Combined with my battle experience, I am already at the peak among the mortals. But to deal with a GU Immortal, Fang Yuan's brows slowly started to furrow. He was well aware of the enormous gap between immortal and mortal. A mortal going against an immortal was as hard as ascending to heaven. To him, the best situation right now would be Tai Bai Yunsheng already having the recipe for immortal GU landscape as before in his mind. It would not have been good for Fang Yuan to make a move outside in northern plains, but it would be very convenient for him to do so in 88 Truyong Building. Using GU to plunder river as before and mountain as before GU from Tai Bai Yunsheng, and then plunder the immortal GU recipe from his mind. With such ample conditions, Fang Yuan could jump out of the chessboard and directly kill Tai Bai Yunsheng who had yet to become an immortal, and then use the third refinement opportunity to request Langya Land Spirit to refine landscape as before GU. However, the possibility of Tai Bai Yunsheng, immortal, possessing the immortal GU recipe of landscape as before was next to nothing. Moreover, according to the vague rumors in his previous life, when Tai Bai Yunsheng became a GU immortal, heaven and earth reacted and Dao marks attracted each other, making the two rank 5 GU spontaneously merge together to form rank 6 immortal GU landscape as before. Fang Yuan had a prudent nature, and would never place all his hopes on an indistinct future. If the situation is messed up, then I will have to deal with the GU immortal Tai Bai Yunsheng. At that time, I can only rely on myself. Azure Wolf Group and Forearm Wind King clearly won't be enough. Fang Yuan's strength was already at the peak among mortals. Despite cultivation of both enslavement and strength path having the greatest unresolved issue, he was still among the first class of rank 5 experts. If compared to Southern Border, he was in the same level as Shang Clan's genius clan leader Shang Yanfei and Wu clan leader Empress Wu Ji. Using the experiences of his past lives, the advantage of rebirth and taking a series of risks, struggling at death's door several times, Fang Yuan achieved such rapid growth that it would shock the world. But even so, in front of a GU immortal, even if it was a newly advanced GU immortal, this strength was not enough. To resolve this huge issue, there are only about 3 ways. First is to search 88 Truyong Building for the strongest GU worms or unique methods. Second is to secretly make arrangements against Tai Bai Yunsheng as much as possible so that there will be ample preparation when I have to truly make a move. Third is to resolve the problem of enslavement and strength dual cultivation and raise my battle strength further. Fang Yuan silently pondered. He was fully aware that he had exhausted almost all his previous life's foundation in creating Four-Arm Wind King. After all, he had specialized in blood path in his previous life and had only dabbled in enslavement and strength paths. The so-called plots and traps against GU immortals were too inferior to be even mentioned and were not reliable. Fang Yuan had advanced to GU immortal in his previous life, thus he knew when a mortal transformed to a GU immortal, from their head to toe, inside to outside, they would go through baptism, and even their appearance would change. The only thing that he could truly place high hopes on was 88 Truyong Building. Days passed by, the golden light and silver light in the sky continued to switch between one another. 88 Truyong Building was still gradually forming, its sunset hues gradually rose and covered most of the sacred palace in its light. Cool wind breezed through imperial court-blessed land with birds singing and the fragrance of flowers filling the air. But at the outside world in northern plains, snow had continued to fall for over a month already. Blizzard was spreading over the northern plains in full force with its bone-chilling cold wind and snow. Both the sky and ground were a scene of white, and mist covered one's vision. Trees had already started dying and were frozen into pillars of ice. Mountains and hills were covered with thick layers of snow and large piles had formed in valleys as well. Beast groups died in large numbers and even weeds with vigorous life force were also frozen into ice. Even when one spat, the saliva would instantly turn into ice. But heaven never blocked all paths, somehow, there would always be a trace of hope left. In each region of northern plains, there were remnants of tribes. Some were small and some big, and relying on geographically advantageous places like Warm Pond Valley, they were able to resist the wind and snow and survive in the blizzard. Man tribe who occupied Hongyan Valley was one of them. Hall of Affairs. The elders divided into two rows with Man tribe leaders sitting high at the main seat. Rank 3 external elder Shiwu kneeled on the ground. Lord tribe leader, I come forward to beg for forgiveness. Oh, what is your fault? Man 2 asked with a slight smile. Reporting to Lord tribe leader, I was in charge of looking after Spirit Spring D, but it suddenly froze and dried up yesterday, it is now ruined. Shiwu respectfully replied. He, not a problem. Man 2 lightly waved his hand. As a matter of fact, he had already known this news. Elder Shiwu, stand up, it is the 10-year disaster now, there is a chance of every Spirit Spring suddenly freezing and drying up. This is not your fault. Lord tribe leader's kindness knows no bounds, I am ashamed. Shiwu was moved to tears and sighed inwardly. His surname was Shi and was half an outsider to Man tribe. Although he had married into Man tribe, but he had still been pushed aside. A problem occurred in the Spirit Spring he had been put in charge of, this matter could have been big or small. Fortunately, this generation's Man tribe leader was open-minded and did not look into it. However, anything concerning Spirit Springs are major affairs of the tribe. Man Duo, how many Spirit Springs do we have left now? Man 2's brows slightly furrowed as he asked. Man Duo was Man 2's third son, thin and small in physique but was shrewd and crafty, and had been assisting Man 2 in handling internal affairs of the tribe till now. He immediately replied, Lord Father, Hongyan Valley now still has 7 Spirit Springs marked A, B, C, E, F, G and H. Among them, G and H Spirit Springs are already close to drying up and will only last less than a month. All right, Man 2 nodded, that is to say, a month later, we will only have 5 Spirit Springs. Elders, what do you think? Lord Tribe Leader, this thing is very difficult to deal with. This is a natural disaster, it is almost impossible for humans to reverse the situation, we might as well cut down on the primeval stones given to GU Masters. Hongyan Valley's 8 Spirit Springs were accumulated bitterly over these 10 years by our tribe. The situation of our tribe this year is much better than the previous times. It is all thanks to Lord Tribe Leader's wise guidance that we don't need to worry, other tribes are in a much more worse situation. Even if all the Spirit Springs dry up, it won't be much problem. Wait till this 10-year snow disaster passes, and at that time, new Spirit Springs will emerge one after another, when fortune arises after extreme suffering. Elders expressed their thoughts one after another. Man 2 calmly listened to them and nodded. Spirit Springs are very important for a GU Master's cultivation and cannot be neglected. It is difficult for a GU Master's cultivation to progress without primeval stones. The blizzard has just started, snow monsters will start roaming about soon. The main defense of the Hongyan Valley will still rely on GU Masters. He paused before mumbling, let's do it like this, take out 1 spring egg GU from the tribe warehouse and plant it. This new Spirit Spring shall be titled D. Lord Tribe Leader, Spring Egg GU is a rank 5 GU. An elder objected in heartache. Mantu raised his brows. So what if it is a rank 5 GU? You all know that only with a spirit spring's supply of primeval stones can our tribe's GU masters advance forward continually. They can then preserve their strength and prepare themselves when resisting snow monsters. As long as there is not a huge loss of our GU masters, our tribe can preserve its strength. And when the blizzard passes and spring blossoms, it will be time for our tribe to realize our ambitions. Realize our ambitions. The elders' eyes brightened at these words. Mantu had been putting all his efforts in developing the tribe, and under his leadership, Man tribe had continually expanded and swallowed many small tribes over these years. Now, Man tribe was occupying Hongyan Valley. It could already be said to be a ruler of a region. But from his words, everyone could hear this Man tribe leader still wanted to progress further. The current Man tribe was still not able to satisfy his ambitions. The elder who had objected quickly apologized. Lord Tribe Leader is wise and resolute. I am willing to lay down my life at Tribe Leader's command. We are willing to give our lives for Tribe Leader. Soon after, the other elders spoke together. Having everyone with me, we can seek supremacy. Mantu laughed loudly, then his expression concentrated and he ordered, Elder Shiwu will be in charge of the new Spirit Spring D. Everyone present gazed at Shiwu with envy. Looking after a Spirit Spring was a lucrative job. Shiwu was truly moved this time. His eyes reddened as he said, I am fortunate to have tribe leaders' trust. I will definitely do my best to repay the tribe. The discussions continued for a while longer before everyone dispersed. Shiwu did not leave, instead following Manduo to the tribe warehouse and took a spring egg GU. This is spring egg GU. Shiwu held the GU in his hand and gazed at it strangely, his tone trembling. His expression quickly concentrated and he then bowed towards Manduo. Third young master, please enlighten me on how to activate this GU. Manduo smiled as he saw Shiwu adapting to circumstances. I do not dare to give you advice. This spring egg GU is a rank 5 GU and has extremely high demand on primeval essence. Even a rank 5 middle stage GU master cannot activate it at one try. Elder Shiwu, you have a rank 3 cultivation, and as such you would need to use lasting GU and continuing GU to activate it. But this way, the quickest it will take for you to plant the spirit spring is close to a month. Elder, you don't need to worry, I will help you by the side during this time. I am very grateful to third young master. Shiwu promptly expressed his thanks. Chibi General living is tough indeed feels bad man. Chapter 555. Chapter 555. Dancing Snow Claws, Appearance of the Building. The location to create the spirit spring had already been decided. Shiwu brought the spring egg GU and went with Manduo. After making the preparations, he started using his primeval essence and sent it into the lasting GU and continuing GU, before injecting it into the spring egg GU. The spring egg GU floated in the air, absorbing primeval essence as it moved up and down slowly. For the next 18 days, Shiwu slept 3 hours a day, rushing to eat his meals and settle his excretion. Although it was tough, the effects were showing. As he continued to inject primeval essence, the spring egg GU was shining with a brilliant light. These days, Manduo had come to inspect again, and upon seeing this, he was overjoyed. We are almost there. There are mild cracks on the spring egg GU already. Once it breaks, we will succeed. It has been tough on Elder Shiwu. Not at all, not at all. Shiwu refined the GU while humbly replying. He was mentally fatigued, his body had gotten thinner. With his cultivation, forcefully activating a rank 5 GU was very tiring. But if he succeeded, it would be a huge service to the tribe. Manduo continued. During this elder meeting, Lord Father had specially mentioned it. Lord Shiwu's hard work is evident in everyone's eyes. If you have any requests, we will try to satisfy it. Shiwu was extremely grateful. I am ashamed, with Lord Tribe Leader's care, how can I go overboard and request for more? But I have a question. Oh, please speak. Young Master Manduo, I feel that Hongyan Valley had been getting colder these days. The surrounding vegetation and beasts have been freezing to death. Manduo's expression turned ugly. Hongyan Valley was indeed facing a problem. It had been mentioned during the last few tribe meetings. The result was, the underground magma supporting Hongyan Valley had been reduced due to unknown reasons. This was different from historical records. In the earlier meeting, tribe leader Mantu flew into a rage, wanting everyone to think of a solution. At the same time, they had to conceal this matter to prevent their morale from sinking. Elder Shiwu is at a crucial moment of refining the spirit spring. I should not tell him this bad news, or his mind will waver and ruin this important matter. Thinking so, Manduo lied and reassured Shiwu. Shiwu did not sense anything wrong. He was about to speak but suddenly, his expression changed, shouting, "Oh no, it's the flying hand snow." Man Duo turned around and was shocked. How can there be flying hand snow in Hongyan Valley? Only to see that in the sky, fierce winds were blowing as palm-sized snowflakes carrying the aura of rank 5 GU descended slowly. "Oh no, come quickly and protect the spring egg GU." Man Duo shouted, calling the nearby GU masters over. But the blizzard was powerful, the wind cut like razors and the might of heaven and earth descended. After resisting it for a while, everyone starting to fall into a disadvantage. Snow monster. Snow monsters have appeared. Trouble comes in pairs. The blizzard gathered and formed into a 6-meter-tall snow monster. The defense of the GU masters was easily broken. In the sky, large numbers of flying hand snow gathered into a huge palm. Under everyone's furious and indignant, while completely helpless stares, the giant snow hand grabbed the spring egg GU in the air and squeezed. Crack! With a light sound, the snow hand disintegrated. The snowflakes landed on the ground. The rank 5 spring egg GU inside had vanished already. The silver light shone like a miasma gently raining down on Imperial Court blessed land. Howl howl! Azure Wolf group sprinted on the ground, some ran in the air, while others were dashing with their claws. Even though there were GU masters feeding them in the sacred palace, these wolves still desired freedom. They wanted to be ferocious beasts roaming the sky, and not canaries trapped in cages. As their master, Fang Yuan let them do as they wished. He himself was spreading his eagle wings as he flew in the sky, looking at the ground below him. It was Dichu inheritance. Light in the soil, shine up to 100,000 feet high, swimming in the sky for 100 li, praising plum fragrant snow. What does this sentence mean? Fang Yuan pondered. He had been coming over to explore the inheritance grounds every few days. Instinct told him that this Dichu inheritance was not simple. Thus, every time he went out, he used the excuse of walking his wolves, to train them and practice his manipulation skills. But even so, he could not stay for long. Fang Yuan was now a person with high status, second to only He Lulan. His every movement was scrutinized by everyone. He was no longer as invisible as before. This time, he had no findings, and to prevent suspicion, he could only leave for now. Even though he could completely occupy this entire area using his status now, Fang Yuan did not do that. If this inheritance had high value, even if he had great strength, others would compete with him. He did not have Huangjin bloodline. To enter 88 Truyong building, he needed He Lulan's guest token. However, he had been sending people to scout the area. The reason was naturally the Azure Wolf group. Every time he went out to hunt with the Azure Wolf group, there would be a route. Before moving out, he would send GU masters to scout out the path for him, and go to the path that had the most prey. There were 5 to 6 routes to choose from each time, but each one of them would be close to Dichu inheritance. One must act flawlessly. Fang Yuan followed the route that he planned and continued hunting with the Azure Wolf group. There were a lot of beasts and resources inside Imperial Court blessed land. Especially near the small towers, there were swarms of worms and countless wild GU. 88 Truyong building was something only a small number of GU masters had the chance to enter. Most GU masters would roam in the huge blessed land, subdue wild GU, or find inheritances. Fang Yuan followed the trail and found many GU masters. As for the area near Dichu inheritance, there were naturally many GU masters passing by. Fang Yuan was not afraid that Dichu mountain would get taken by someone. In fact, he was hoping that someone would find it and trigger it. He would get news of it by then and would be able to strike easily. After all, he had already used his strength to snatch an inheritance back on Xingju Peak. Rumble rumble, there were some loud sounds coming from the ground. Fang Yuan rode the Azure Myriad Wolf King, and looked down, seeing a small tower shining with a bright light, sinking into the ground slowly. Fang Yuan was not surprised. In the progress of 88 Truyong buildings' gradually appearance, the small towers in Imperial Court blessed land would slowly sink into the ground. These small towers were like nests that were filled with all the wild GU that had grown in the last 10 years. Many people guessed. The wild GU in these small towers were the energy source to form 88 Truyong building. In a way, these small towers were a portion of the 88 Truyong building. This guest had never gotten confirmation. GU immortals who could confirm this were unable to enter Imperial Court blessed land. And those mortals who could enter were way too weak compared to Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, they could not decipher it. But Fang Yuan was an exception. 88 Truyong building has an intriguing design, it is truly a work of heaven. These small towers are indeed a portion of Truyong building. Fang Yuan was far more knowledgeable than other GU immortals in this aspect, because he controlled the most complete information regarding 88 Truyong building. This source of information was Lang Ya Land Spirit. The Land Spirit in his life was the rank 8 GU immortal long-hair ancestor who created the 88 Truyong building. Wait, Fang Yuan's body shook, a flash of inspiration appeared in his heart, sweeping away the confusion in his heart. This moment, he finally found the strange thing about Di Chu, there was no small tower near Di Chu. Indeed, that is the case. Fang Yuan's eyes shone with brilliance. In the last few times he brought the azure wolves to hunt, he would either be in the sky near Di Chu, or the ground near it. Now that he recalled it, he realized the peculiarity of Di Chu. By logic, every 8 li should have a small tower. And every small tower corresponds to the regions in northern plains. But near Di Chu, there is nothing. Thinking so, Fang Yuan got excited. This was a huge breakthrough. Following this lead, he could potentially unravel the mystery of Di Chu inheritance. But Fang Yuan did not turn back. Rushing over in an excited manner like this was asking to be suspected. He controlled his excited emotions, and continued on the route he had prepared. The azure wolves moved out from the sacred palace, and after one round, returned. The sacred palace was like a mountain peak, the 88 Truyong building at its peak was still nurturing. The aurora it emitted was covering the entire sacred palace. The grand and beautiful sacred palace was shrouded in a mysterious and powerful aura. Fang Yuan went out to hunt every 6 or 7 days with the azure wolf group. But plans cannot keep up with circumstances. 3 days later, the aurora gathered into one point and starting taking form. The first layer of 88 Truyong building had formed. This was a joyful news, causing the sacred palace to go into a commotion. At once, everyone's hot topic was about this building. Of course, most of the GU masters could only watch. He Lulan went in excitedly. Several hours later, he returned in a pathetic state, wounds covering his body. His injuries were not light, but they could not conceal the shock in his eyes. During the second expedition, he brought many He tribe GU masters. He tribesmen had the bloodline of giant son Immortal Venerable, they could freely enter and exit Truyong building without restriction. During such times, tribesmen were the most reliable. Why was there a need to share with outsiders what one could devour alone? When He Lulan returned, he looked extremely tired. As for the GU masters who went in, only 60% returned. Thereafter, all sorts of rumors and information spread, they were all regarding Truyong building. Some said that the Truyong building was a work of heaven, it was spectacular, some said that it was difficult to explore, every step was precarious, some said that the rewards for passing it was very enticing. By now, everyone was moved. Chibi General, it's like when your game has a new update and you try hard soloing the boss alone. Chapter 556, it's actually a GU Immortal Inheritance. Chapter 556, it's actually a GU Immortal Inheritance. Bam, He Lulan raised his leg, kicking his tribesman He Qisheng to the ground. Useless thing, the black fatty cursed, the muscles on his face twitched as he revealed a ruthless and savage gaze. The hall was silent, all of the He tribe GU masters did not dare to speak a word. He Lulan was called Black Tyrant, it was due to his famous ruthless and cruel personality. Especially when he was obstructed 6 times by the 54th round, his anger was ignited like a barrel of gunpowder. Lord Tribe Leader, it was my inability, I deserve death. He Qisheng sprawled on the ground, begging for forgiveness while prostrating. Idiot, why is there such a useless idiot in our He tribe? He Lulan gritted his teeth, kicking He Qisheng several times. Seeing that he was coughing blood due to the kicks, He Lulan's anger subsided slightly. The surrounding elders were silent, not daring to say a word. Last time, the elders who pleaded for He Qisheng were beaten until they received heavy injuries by He Lulan, they were still bedridden now. He Lulan's temper had been curbed slightly during the imperial court contest. But now that they were in the blessed land, his poor temper and cruel nature were back at full force. You are also all idiots, useless trash. Why are you all standing here? Speak, tell me a good method to break through the 54th round. Otherwise, I will dock your salary. The tribe does not feed useless people. I gave you primeval stones, I gave you a luxurious life, raising your status, what was it all for? Now is the time to perform your duties. He Lulan screamed, the windows were shaking from the force of his voice. The elders were sighing bitterly internally. They were like drooping eggplants, lowering their head and communicating with their expressions, but no one dared to speak first. He Lulan stared and looked around, fixing his gaze on Elder He Pei. As the most senior and experienced First Elder Heipei, he gritted his teeth and walked out, bowing in respect. Lord, the way I see it, this 54th round is a test of enslavement path. It is very difficult and it cannot be passed without master-level enslavement attainment. Although Elder He Chi Sheng is an enslavement path GU master that we nurtured, he is not a master. To pass this round, we need Lord Wolf King's strength. HMPH, you are asking me to seek outside help. You want to let the whole world see us He tribe as a joke, as a weakling that needs outside reinforcements. He Lu Lan's gaze was filled with ruthlessness as he screamed fiercely. Heipei's heart was shivering, but he bowed deeply and responded, Lord Tribe Leader is strong and intelligent, you are an amazing leader, the Lord of the Imperial Court. With your presence, whoever dares to think that He tribe is useless would be the #1 fool in this world. This is not outside reinforcement to be exact. This Wolf King Chong Shanyan is part of the Alliance Army, he is your subordinate. Using him for this is but natural. I am sure Chong Shanyan would be very grateful to Lord, after all, he is an outsider but he given the chance to enter Truyong building, it is his greatest honor. He Lu Lan heard this and his anger expression softened. The elders watched this as they praised Heipei's eloquence internally, he was indeed skilled to be the first elder. He Lu Lan walked slowly, he was very indignant. Currently, he had 2 guest tokens, they were obtained from the 12th and 46th round respectively as a reward from Truyong building. It was not that he did not want to waste the tokens, but once he invited Wolf King, the reward for clearing the 54th round would go to Chong Shanyan. If it was his tribesmen, He Lu Lan could use the authority of the tribe leader to make all of the rewards his. But according to the rules, these rewards should be given to the reinforcement. The rewards in 88 Truyong building was extraordinary, even He Lu Lan was deeply moved. Be it GU recipes, GU worms, or others, each item could allow a GU master to rise up despite an ordinary background. He Lu Lan walked for several steps, sighing lightly. He knew that there was no point in forcing He Chi Sheng. He tribe had nurtured 3 enslavement path GU masters, 1 died in the Imperial Court contest, while He Chi Sheng was the stronger one out of the 2 left. But he was not an enslavement master, any master needed sufficient talent, it was not something that could be nurtured through abundant resources. He Lu Lan stopped walking. Where is He Shu? Subordinate is here. He Shu was standing outside the hall, he was He Lu Lan's personal GU master attendant, hearing He Lu Lan's summon, he came in to greet him. Go invite Wolf King here. He Lu Lan instructed. Hearing this, the elders in the hall sighed in relief. He Chi Sheng who was lying on the ground relaxed his body, this nightmare was over. Yes Lord Tribe Leader. He Shu left after receiving his orders. Bam! He Lu Lan kicked He Chi Sheng again. You trash, why are you still lying here? You want Chong Shanyan to see how pathetic our He tribe is after he comes here. Lord, I was wrong. He Chi Sheng quickly apologized profusely. Get lost and nurse your injuries. He Lu Lan screamed. Yes, Lord. He Chi Sheng struggled to get up, leaving in a wobbling state. Not long after, He Shu reported back with an apologetic look. Lord Tribe Leader, Lord Wolf King is not in the sacred palace, he is out feeding his wolves. What? He Lu Lan's volume became louder, his brows were raised as his calm expression showed anger again. The elders were terrified, the first elder Heipei accused He Shu, you junior, you do not know how to do your job. Even if Wolf King was not around, how could you return empty-handed? Could you not send a letter over, and state your intention, that Wolf King will come crawling back immediately? Lord, it was not my fault. He Shu cried out innocently. I already sent a letter over, but Wolf King replied already. He said that he was leading his wolves to hunt, it was a habit and he did not want to cut it in the middle. He wants us to wait, if we cannot wait, we can call Tang Miaoming and the others instead. At once, everyone was shocked. First Elder Heipei stared with his eyes wide opened, he did not believe it, how can anyone be so indifferent? Did he really say that? I have concrete evidence. Lord Tribe Leader, this is the letter GU that Wolf King Chong Shanyan sent back. He Shu said, handing a star letter GU to He Lu Lan. This was a star path GU, it was rank 4 and gave the fastest replies. But it shone in the air as it flew, it created huge commotion and was easy to intercept. Of course, in Imperial Court blessed land, there was no such worries. He Lu Lan's mind entered the star letter GU, as he snickered continuously, this Wolf King has good temperament, he is able to control his desires so well. Lord, Wolf King is an arrogant loner, everyone knows that. The way I see it, he is already laughing secretly, but is trying to put up a front. First Elder Heipei analyzed, as the others elders nodded in agreement. HMPH, of course he is being haughty. He is an enslavement master, and also a flying master. If you guys were masters, would we need to ask an outsider for help? He Lu Lan screamed, causing the elders to shut up as some of the elders lowered their head even more. Honestly speaking, Fang Yuan was really not placing his attention on Truyong building. He looked at Di Chu below him, his heart palpitating. There really isn't a small tower here. According to the terrain, this area should have a small tower, directly above Di Chu, but now, this is just a pitch black hole. Impressive. The GU master who made this inheritance is very impressive. The imperial court blessed land had a small tower at every 8 li interval. Actually, all of them were a part of the 88 Truyong building. 88 Truyong building was an immortal GU house that long-hair ancestor had refined back in the day. It was as high as rank 8. Next, after Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's preparations, it was a mirror of northern plains. The small towers were all over imperial court blessed land, they could be seen everywhere. Each of the towers had thousands of wild GU, no one dared to target them or they would die. But now it seems that, the GU master who set up Di Chu inheritance not only moved the small tower, he even set up this inheritance on that spot. Such methods and courage, such abilities, it made Fang Yuan confirm that this mysterious GU master was not a simple person. No, rather than GU master, I might as well call him GU Immortal. Even with the long time that had passed, and Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's setup might have weakened, but it is not something mortals can alter. Only GU Immortals can make minor changes to these arrangements, and create such a place. Fang Yuan's eyes were shining with uncertainty. He had accidentally gotten Di Chu inheritance, but it was a GU Immortal inheritance. Light in the soil, shine up to 100,000 feet high, swimming in the sky for 100 li, praising plum fragrant snow. What did this really mean? What sorts of treasures would be inside a GU Immortal's inheritance? Will there be an immortal GU? Fang Yuan guessed daringly. If there was an immortal GU, it could match against the first floor of Truyong building. Because even in the 88 Truyong building, the final round of every floor might not have an immortal GU reward. Even without an immortal GU, Di Chu inheritance was created with so much effort, there had to be an immortal GU recipe at least. Without immortal GU, an immortal GU recipe was also a huge reward. A complete immortal GU recipe was something not sold inside Treasure Yellow Heaven. GU Immortals would sell remnant recipes mostly. Even if they had complete immortal GU recipes, they would break it up and add in some mistakes before selling it. Complete immortal GU recipes could only be exchanged. And there were few instances of this happening throughout history. Fang Yuan curbed his imagination, and began to think calmly. With a crucial clue, his current train of thought had improved rapidly. He pieced together all sorts of clues, deciphering the time of Di Chu inheritance's creation. It should be very long ago, at least, it should have existed since Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable's time. But the more he thought, the more questions he had. Let's call this person GU Immortal Di Chu for now. Who were they? Why did they set up an inheritance here? As a GU Immortal, how did they get in? Most importantly, how did they know about the setup here, and the true principle behind the 88 Truyong building? If they were like Tai Bai Yun Shang, and advanced to GU Immortal realm inside Imperial Court Blessed Land, then there would be new explanations for what happened. Fang Yuan felt a headache as he stopped thinking. One star letter GU tore through the sky and flew towards him. Fang Yuan received it, and saw that it was He Lu Lan urging him to return. Never mind, I shall go to Truyong building first, and come back later. GU Immortal Di Chu most likely made use of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's setup flaws. Once I enter Truyong building, I might be able to find some clues and understand the mystery behind this. Thinking so, Fang Yuan replied with the letter. Since He Lu Lan wrote a letter personally to rush him, Fang Yuan stopped acting arrogantly anymore. He immediately returned. I will need to rely on Wolf King's strength this time. He Lu Lan saw Fang Yuan and laughed. He was very anxious in his heart. There was not much time inside Imperial Court Blessed Land. Once the 10-year blizzard outside subsides, Imperial Court Blessed Land would close, and they would need to leave. Before that happens, He Lu Lan not only needs to complete the mission given by his tribe's GU Immortals, he also needed to find a Strength Path Immortal GU for himself. After Wolf King returned, He Lu Lan quickly organized the group again. The gang got to the building, as He Lu Lan handed Fang Yuan an ancient token. This is the guest token. Wolf King does not have Huang Jin bloodline, you are an outside in the building's perspective. To enter it, you will need a guest token each time. Fang Yuan received the token and laughed lightly without any concern, saying, "I can't wait to witness the splendor of Truyong Building." At this point, He Lu Lan did not push the door open, instead, he crashed into the door. Fang Yuan followed suit. As the guest token shone in his hand, he imitated He Lu Lan and entered Truyong Building as well. Chapter 557. Chapter 557. 3 grades of evaluation, clearing with high grade. Fang Yuan felt his body stiffen as a strong sense of pressure assaulted him as he entered the building. But soon after, the pressure lifted. He had entered Truyong Building completely. There was a lake in front of him. The sky was blue, there was ripples on the surface of the lake, and the surroundings were shrouded in vague foggy mountain shadows. The guest token in his hand turned into a puddle of cold molten iron, flowing down the gaps between his fingers. Each guest token could only be used once. Fang Yuan shook off the liquid from his hand, until they were all gone. He looked around, finding himself on an island at the center of the lake. There was someone beside him. It was He Lu Lan. This is the 54th round. He Lu Lan did not look at Fang Yuan, instead facing forward. "Look, that is the problem Brother Shan Yin has to deal with." Fang Yuan looked at the same direction, and saw that not far away, there was another island. On the island, there was a group of water snake lions. These water snake lions had a body of bright blue fur. They were extremely smooth. Its limbs were not claws, but were webbed feet like that of frogs. Their tails were poisonous snakes, coiling around the water lion's back or standing straight up, hissing with their tongues. Without He Lu Lan's introduction, a barrage of information from a mystical source entered Fang Yuan's brain at the same time. Use the hedgehog fish on the island and break past the water snake lion's defense, occupy the island over there. Fang Yuan retracted his gaze, turning to look at the island around him. In the jade blue water around the island, he saw the shadows of hedgehog fish swimming. At this time, He tribe elders came in one by one, standing beside He Lu Lan. Be it water snake lions or hedgehog fish, they are wild beasts from the medieval era. Right now, they can only be found in the deep areas of Eastern Sea. An elder sighed. "In my opinion, this round is extremely unfair. The water snake lions are very strong, one of them can compete against 5 or 6 hedgehog fish. But the number of hedgehog fish we have here is only about twice of the water snake lions." A He tribe elder looked at the island ahead as he explained the situation to Fang Yuan. "No need to worry, Brother Shan Yin, we are here today for practice." He Lu Lan patted Fang Yuan's shoulders. After all, Fang Yuan enslaved wolf groups. But now, it was a fish group, and it was even an extremely rare, nearly extinct hedgehog fish in northern plains. He Lu Lan had failed about 8 to 9 times already. His best result was only killing 30% of the water snake lions. This made He tribe GU masters understand the difficulty of this round. Although Chong Shan Yin was an enslavement master, this was the Truyong Building set up by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Fang Yuan looked for a while and frowned. He estimated, with his abilities, controlling these hedgehog fish to kill the water snake lions was not hard. In fact, it was almost a guaranteed success. But although this round seemed simple, it was very elaborate. Back when Giant Sun Immortal Venerable set up the 88th Truyong Building, the purpose was to leave an inheritance for descendants and reward the outstanding ones. Thus, every round in Truyong Building would be split into low, middle, and high grade. Getting through with low grade would reward the least rewards. They would directly go to the next round. Getting through with middle grade would have twice the reward of low grade. During the next round, they would receive information about it. As for getting through with high grade, not only would they get twice the reward of middle grade, they would even be transported into a deep part of Truyong Building, a place called Treasure Room. This treasure room was filled with countless treasures. There were even several true immortal inheritances by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. But the things inside the treasure room cannot be taken away easily. The person who cleared the round would need to exchange for them. Be it GU worms, GU recipes, or even their own cultivation experience, all these could be used for exchanging the items within. When the person finishes the exchange, they would go to the next round. He Lu Lan only needed a low-grade pass to get to the 55th round. That would satisfy him. But Fang Yuan's goal was different. He needed high-grade pass to enter the treasure room. Only within the treasure room can he be alone, to use the methods he had prepared to obtain the greatest benefits. Low-grade pass is easy as breathing. But middle and high-grade, I do not know what are the conditions for those. I can only try now. Thinking so, Fang Yuan breathed in deeply, and nodded at He Lu Lan, indicating for him to start. He Lu Lan took out a token and waved it at the sky. This token was different from the guest token. It was the owner token. When He Lu Lan first entered Imperial Court Blessed Land, this token appeared before him, signifying his prestigious status. The owner token vibrated, as ripples formed in the air, dozens of fish enslavement GU appeared, of rank 1, 2, and 3. When Fang Yuan received these GU worms, he easily refined them. The other people were immobilized by an invisible gentle force, no one could assist him. Only He Lu Lan could still speak. He advised, "Brother Shan Yin, mind the time. You have only 15 minutes. Fang Yuan nodded, and waved his hand, as the fish enslavement GU in his hand flew out with dozens of mystical lights. Everyone saw Fang Yuan's casual action and was shocked in their hearts. If it was He Qi Sheng, he would need to enslave them one by one, being extremely careful. When using enslavement GU, the GU master would definitely face the resistance of the fish group. If they were careless, the enslavement would fail. If it was severe, the GU master would suffer some backlash on his soul. Was Wolf King too overconfident? I've never seen such an enslavement method before. He's in true. Everyone's heart was pounding, but immediately after, they stared with huge eyes as the fish group swam away towards the island immediately after the enslavement. It was as if they belonged to Fang Yuan from the start, not a single enslavement failed. The water snake lions were alerted by this. They stopped their lazy actions and sat up. The lion head roared as the snake head hissed. Many of the water snake lions jumped into the water, setting up their defense lines. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan was standing upright, his arms behind his back as he did not waver at all. The enslavement attainment as well as foundation of the soul he displayed made almost everyone praise him in secret. Oh heaven, he did it. Just this alone was an eye-opener. Wolf King is an enslavement master indeed. He is different from ordinary people. A master is a master. Maybe he can succeed this time, who knows. Everyone's eyes began to show a look of anticipation. Even He Lu Lan was looking with a hopeful expression. But the Wish group did not attack the water snake lion group like they wished. Instead they were swimming around the area, surveilling the place. What is Wolf King thinking? Wolf King is being careful. It seems he is trying to get familiar with the fish's habits. But as time passed, the fish continued to swim. Everyone did not get to see the fight between fish and lion as they wished. By now, even He Lu Lan was a bit anxious. He urged, "Brother Shan Yin, there isn't much time left. No rush." Fang Yuan was calm as he replied casually. The water snake lions saw that the fish group did not attack. Some of the water snake fish crawled out of the water, onto the island. The strong defense around the island weakened. After a moment, He Lu Lan urged again, "Brother Shan Yin, half the time has already passed. No rush." Fang Yuan waved his hand, his eyelids drooping, as if he was very sleepy. Even more water snake lions went onshore. The old Lion King even sprawled on the ground, shutting its eyes in slumber. Everyone was greatly disappointed. They were cursing in their minds. This Wolf King is merely strong on the outside. To think I thought so highly of him earlier. So what if he is a master level? This is true Yang building. It seems that this time, Chang Shan Yin's goal is to get familiar with the fish group, to accumulate experience for the next assault. Seeing that the time was going to be used up, everyone's remaining bit of hope was expended. What a waste of a token, expended like this. What shall I eat for dinner tonight? 1. After failing this time, I wonder how Lord Tribe Leader will deal with Chang Shan Yin. Just as everyone were thinking about random things, Fang Yuan suddenly laughed, manipulating the fish group to charge, attacking the water snake lion group from all directions. As expected, He Lu Lan's eyes shone with brilliance. He had guessed in his heart already. Chang Shan Yin wants to save his efforts for the next attempt, then this time, he would definitely familiarize himself with the fish group and their attacking pattern. He would also need to probe the strength of the lion group. The fish group's sudden attack caught the water snake lion group off guard. The hedgehog fish group was like a hungry shark, devouring the small number of water snake lions in the water in an instant. So that's it. Chang Shan Yin was training the fish group earlier while making the lion group let their guard down. This attack has already taken down 30% of the lion group, as expected of master level. What breathtaking beast enslavement attainment. He Qi Sheng is like a baby compared to Chang Shan Yin. Everyone stared intently, shocked by Fang Yuan's amazing talent. Howl. Seeing that its subjects were being slaughtered, the old Lion King roared, leading the lion group into the water to take revenge on the hedgehog fish. But what was peculiar was that Fang Yuan stopped his powerful assault, and under his manipulation, the fish group retreated. The lion group chased after him, but when they got to one area, the group fell into chaos. What happened? Everyone was perplexed. So there was a hidden whirlpool here. He Lulan mumbled. Immediately after, the elders' eyes shone. I get it. Wolf King was making the fish scout the area. It was not just to train them, he also wanted to investigate the terrain. That's right. When beast groups fight, it is like war between two armies. Not only would they need to consider both of the armies, they also need to care about the terrain. Many GU masters saw this and almost wanted to pat their legs and scream. The water snake lion group was trapped by the whirlpool, as the fish group turned around and attacked. The lions had huge bodies, they were more affected by the water currents. As for the fish group, they were barely affected by it due to their small size. An exceptional battle strategy unfolded before the crowd. The strong water snake lion group was as fragile as a piece of water. Under Fang Yuan's manipulation, the fish group was like an elite troop. They cooperated well and attacked and retreated at will, taking down their opponents one by one. The fish group gathered and spread at will, attacking fiercely. At times they scattered, causing the lion's attacks to miss. He has them dancing in the palm of his hands. Amazing, incredible, in just a dozen breaths' time, Wolf King became victorious. We got through, we got through. He tribesmen were shocked and exhilarated, their gaze towards Fang Yuan revealed admiration, amazement, and fear etc. Good, what a great Wolf King. He Lulan laughed as he clapped. Fang Yuan also laughed heartily, because when he finished killing the lion group, an information went into his head, high-grade evaluation. The next moment, Fang Yuan vanished on the spot. What happened? He tribesmen were shocked at this, their eyeballs also fell out. He got a high-grade evaluation. Only He Lulan was shouting in his heart. Chibi General, I sense another round of beating for the elders. Chapter 558. Chapter 558. Giant Sun's Great Scheme, Treasure Within the Crystal. Fang Yuan was in a long crystal hallway. Light was flashing in all directions, the four walls were made of shiny crystals, one could see their own reflection in them. Fang Yuan gazed around, behind him, and to his left and right were walls, he could only move forward. I am finally inside the treasure room. Fang Yuan's lips curled into a smile, as he walked forward with huge strides. The crystal hallway was long and clear. In about 5 steps, Fang Yuan saw that GU worms or GU recipes started appearing on the crystal walls to his left and right. They were like insects sealed in amber, motionlessly fixed in the crystal walls. These were all the precious treasures in the treasure room. To obtain them, he needed to exchange them with an equivalent item. Oh, there's a heavenly essence treasure King Lotus here. Fang Yuan halted his steps. He found a familiar-looking GU sealed in the crystal wall before him. This GU was like a blue and white lotus, as large as a face. It had an amazing origin. It was created by Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. They were a series, the rank 3 Heavenly Essence Treasure Lotus, the rank 4 Heavenly Essence Treasure Monarch Lotus, rank 5 Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus, and rank 6 Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus. Among them, Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus was ranked 6th among the top 10 Immortal GU, its value was equivalent to Spring Autumn Cicada, and was held in the hands of Langya Land Spirit now. Fang Yuan had once used a Heavenly Essence Treasure Lotus, it made up for his lack of aptitude during that period, and was a huge help to him. But to advance the GU, Fang Yuan lacked the relevant recipes, and the refinement cost was too huge. A natural spirit spring had to be used, and it had to be full of primeval energy as well. Old spirit springs that were running dry could not be used. Once he succeeds, the spirit spring would be destroyed. Rank 4 Heavenly Lotus needed 7 spirit springs. Rank 5 needed 9. To reach rank 6, it needed 11. This sum was counted using Southern Border's level of spirit springs. If Northern Plains spirit springs were used, he would need 60% more of them. Back then, it was too difficult for Fang Yuan to advance the Heavenly Lotus, and after his aptitude improved greatly, he gave up on the Heavenly Essence Treasure Lotus GU. But now, he was moved by this rank 5 Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus. The series of Heavenly Essence Treasure Lotus are known as mobile spirit springs. Once refined, they can produce primeval essence naturally. There's no point in using the rank 3 Heavenly Essence Treasure Lotus anymore, but the rank 5 Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus is suitable for my current condition. But to get his Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus, Fang Yuan would need to exchange for it using an equivalent treasure according to the rules. Let's exchange then. Fang Yuan was rather rich now. Having a blessed land was like having the foundation of a GU Immortal. To exchange for the Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus, others might have to use all of their assets to get it, but for Fang Yuan, it was a question of what to give up. What should I use for the exchange? Fang Yuan's mind entered his 2 apertures. The strength and enslavement path GU worms inside his apertures were not exchangeable. His first aperture's vital GU spring-autumn cicada was the same. Other than them, there were still quite a lot of GU worms in his possession. The individual value of these GU worms were obviously lower than Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus, but if one was insufficient, he could put 2, or even 3 in. Oh, why are there 18 spring egg GU? Fang Yuan was shocked to find a batch of precious rank 5 GU inside his first aperture. But he quickly understood the reason. I almost forgot, this is the reward for getting past the round with a high-grade evaluation. It was directly sent into my aperture by Truyong Building. Normally, a GU master's aperture was the basis of their cultivation, it was their biggest secret. But Truyong Building was truly made by old hair ancestor, with Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's setup, it had great power and could directly send GU worms into a GU master's aperture. Spring Egg GU was obviously inferior to Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus, but it was still a rank 5 GU. The Spring Egg GU looked like a white goose egg, it could be obtained by killing a strong Eggman Emperor. Placing the Spring Egg GU deep underground would give birth to a new Spirit Spring. Spirit Springs were the foundation for GU Masters cultivation. Many large tribes or clans would collect Spring Egg GU to strengthen their foundation, in case of need. Even GU Immortals would often buy them and plant them inside the Blessed Land, forming a spirit spring and nourishing their inhabitants. Fang Yuan took out one Spring Egg GU and looked at it. This GU was not in good shape, the surface was full of cracks, and there were primeval essence traces inside the GU, someone had used it before. Fang Yuan's eyes shone with brilliance, he sneered, it seems that this GU was snatched by the flying hand snow while it was activated. The rewards in 88 Truyong Building are all of such sources. In order to fulfill his dream of hereditary monarchy, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable set up a huge scheme painstakingly while making sure his descendants had the upper hand. First was the Imperial Court contest, to weaken other tribes. Next, he used the 10-year blizzard to send all sorts of treasures and materials from northern plains into 88 Truyong Building. After all, a GU master's cultivation was heavily reliant on resources. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable set up the 88 Truyong Building, it was a fatal blow. After the resources were taken, he would give them to his bloodline descendants, destroying the hopes of success for other tribes. In Fang Yuan's previous 500 years, Central Continent GU Immortals attacked and destroyed Imperial Court Blessed Land using this specialty of the Truyong Building. They sent pawn pieces into Imperial Court Blessed Land. They then purposely scattered GU worms and allowed the flying hand snow to take them. Eventually, Truyong Building faced destruction from the inside, causing a fatal loophole to appear. After Central Continent GU Immortals destroyed Imperial Court Blessed Land, they exposed all of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's evil deeds, telling the whole world about his schemes, causing a huge commotion in Northern Plains as all the mortals went into a frenzy. But commotion aside, Northern Plains was still the second strongest region in terms of battle strength, only inferior to Central Continent. All sorts of super forces, Huang Jin family tribes worked together and caused Northern Plains to remain stable. After all, Huang Jin family had controlled Northern Plains for so many years, they had deep foundations and roots, it could not be easily shaken by public opinion. However much they reacted, without strength backing them, there was no point. Fang Yuan placed the Spring Egg GU in his hand closer to the crystal wall, towards the wall that sealed the Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus. As it got closer to the crystal wall, there was a light red light, turning into orange, before finally glowing in yellow. After the 3 lights shone, there were no more changes. Fang Yuan took out another 2 Spring Egg GU, placing them near the wall. This time, there was a green light shining. But the green light was not strong, it was suppressed by the other 3 lights. Fang Yuan sneered as he took out a 4th Spring Egg GU, placing it at the crystal wall. This time, the green light burst out, being balanced with the other 3 colors. The crystal wall turned hollow as it vibrated. The Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus inside flew out slowly, while the 4 Spring Egg GU in Fang Yuan's hands left his control and flew into the crystal wall, replacing the Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus position. The Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus landed in Fang Yuan's hands, and Fang Yuan instantly refined it using his primeval essence. 88 Truyong Building was truly amazing, it allowed GU masters to instantly refine GU inside the building. Red, orange, yellow, green, azure, blue, purple, black. It seems that inside this treasure room, there are 8 categories. The more lights there are, the more valuable the treasure. Rank 5 Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus was only a green light item. This was only mid-tier among the range of treasures in this place. Fang Yuan evaluated in his heart as his assessment of the treasure room's value rose and his knowledge of it deepened. He stretched out his hand, touching the crystal wall. He could feel an icy feeling on his palm. Inside, there were 4 spring egg GU, the ones he had used for exchange. Fang Yuan tried to control them, but there was no effect. He sighed in amazement in his heart. To speak the truth, in this current world, Fang Yuan was easily among the top 3 people in terms of his understanding of the 88 Truyong building. That was because he had the detailed information given to him by Lang Yalan's spirit. The more Fang Yuan's understanding of 88 Truyong building increased, the more he felt the genius mechanics of this building. It was really amazing. Forget the others, just look at this crystal wall ahead of him. It had a huge origin. This crystal wall was made back then by long-hair ancestor using tens of thousands of GU masters. Using a secret technique, he extracted their apertures. Using their aperture walls as the material, he used profound ice GU, ice wall GU, grand jade GU, slow down GU, vitality GU, and others to refine it. This crystal wall was the best spot to seal GU worms. The GU inside would go into deep slumber. They could be stored for hundreds or thousands of years without the slightest harm. According to his information, a newly refined crystal wall would shine with ripples like that of a water surface. One would walk into it feeling like it was an illusory dream. But now, the crystal wall no longer had that glamour, but it was still crystal clear. With enough time, water could pierce through rock. The power of time was one of the most noble heavenly powers. Even a rank 9 Venerable could not defeat the power of time. Although Truyong Building was an immortal GU house, it opened every 10 years, there was still some expenditure incurred. If not, during Fang Yuan's previous life, 88 Truyong Building would not have been taken down and destroyed. Right now, the luster of the crystal wall was no more. In fact, there was a thick layer of powder at the corner of the walls. Fang Yuan continued moving forward. In the crystal wall, there were all sorts of GU worms, GU recipes and special refinement materials sealed, but even more were the cultivation experiences of past generations of GU masters. These experiences were extremely precious. Those who could enter the treasure room were geniuses who passed with high-grade evaluation. The things they left behind were definitely top quality. After walking for a little longer, Fang Yuan stopped his footsteps. The hallway ahead of him looked endless. But a stele was blocking Fang Yuan's path. The stele was squarish and smooth. It was about the height of Fang Yuan's knee. There were 2 words written in Northern Plains script: guest halt. 88 Truyong Building was set up by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, in consideration of his descendants. But those who entered the treasure room might not necessarily be GU masters who had the bloodline of Giant Sun. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable considered this point, and thus he placed the most precious resources behind the stele. Outsiders like Chong Shan could only watch helplessly. But Fang Yuan was not Chong Shan. Guest halt. HMPH. Fang Yuan laughed coldly in disdain. He tried walking past the stele, but was blocked by an invisible wall. After so many years, although 88 Truyong Building had some expenditure, the guest halt stele is still working properly. I cannot force my way through. After testing it for a while, Fang Yuan sat down facing the stele. He had planned this for so long, he was naturally well prepared. Immediately, he took out a GU worm, and it shot into the stele. The first step to refining 88 Truyong Building has started. Chapter 559 Immortal Venerable's Will. Chapter 559, Immortal Venerable's Will. Refining 88 Truyong Building might sound like an absurd idea, but it was not wishful thinking. In truth, Fang Yuan was not the first person to refine 88 Truyong Building. In his former 500 years, when Central Continent GU Immortals attacked Imperial Court Blessed Land, they first sent some GU masters to infiltrate 88 Truyong Building's treasure room. After they succeeded, they released the entire procedure after recording it with GU worms, announcing it to the world. Imperial Court Blessed Land was the spiritual symbol for Northern Plains GU masters. It had great importance. The recording of Imperial Court Blessed Land being taken down was spread over the 5 regions. It not only displayed Central Continent's strength, it was also a poisonous needle intended to destroy Northern Plains GU masters' mental support. Most importantly, this recording also proved that Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had snatched GU worms all over Northern Plains, in order to benefit his descendants. Once the recording was released, Northern Plains was in huge turmoil, as the masses went into an uproar. Although the Huang Jin tribes suppressed the situation, and the internal chaos did not reach the level that Central Continent GU Immortals hoped, it did create a northern plains where the people's hearts wavered and undercurrents were flowing. Central Continent GU Immortal Song Qixing, after seeing this video, gave an accurate prediction. Once this video is spread all over the region, the spirit of freedom in northern plains would be released from Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's prison. Fang Yuan naturally had a vivid memory of this video. After his rebirth, he immediately realized the huge value of this video. For this trip to northern plains, saving Dang Hun Mountain was merely one of his objectives. Fang Yuan was a careful person, he often considered failure before success. How can there be something as good as success as one wishes in this world? If I fail to save Dang Hun Mountain, I can at least seek other forms of compensation inside 88 Truyong Building. The video of Central Continent GU Immortals taking down Imperial Court Blessed Land had great reference value for Fang Yuan. But just this clip was not enough. Fang Yuan could only see what happened on the surface from this clip. But luckily, Fang Yuan had obtained first-hand information from Langyao Land Spirit. Because of this, by fusing theory with practice, Fang Yuan had much greater confidence in refining 88 Truyong Building. With my current cultivation level, it is impossible to fully refine 88 Truyong Building. But I can refine a portion of it. Fang Yuan was very clear of the reality. He was only a mortal GU master, one had to be at least a rank 8 GU immortal to refine the immortal GU house. In Fang Yuan's plans, he only wanted to refine a portion of 88 Truyong Building. 88 Truyong Building had existed for a very long time, it was worn down and had loopholes secretly. It was too grand, too majestic, like a giant wooden cage. Fang Yuan was like a termite compared to it. The strength of a termite could not destroy the entire wooden cage. But it could devour the edges, the difficulty of the two was as great as heaven and earth. The guest halt steel in front of him, after a specialized GU worm entered it, gave off a faint yellow light. Fang Yuan stretched out his palms in the meantime, injecting his aperture's primeval essence into it. At the same time, his will entered the guest halt steel, following the primeval essence. GU masters refine GU, it was to occupy the GU worm's body with their will. And during this process, primeval essence was the perfect carrier. Fang Yuan's brows were tightly knotted as his mind entered the steel. The guest halt steel was only a portion of 88 Truyong Building. 88 Truyong Building was a rank 8 immortal GU house, it was way too big. Once Fang Yuan's will entered, he felt that he was in a sea of darkness. In this endless darkness, there was a sun-like existence. It gave off a weak light, which moved in waves like that of breathing. This is Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's will. Fang Yuan's mind went into high alert. 88 Truyong Building was Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's property, since he refined it, his will was naturally inside the immortal GU. Although Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's body had perished long ago, this will that he injected had survived while slumbering within this shell. Such a will is really grand, I feel like I am facing a real sun. Immortal Venerables have unthinkable strength, this is merely a small portion of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's will, left behind and weakened after such a long time. Thankfully, this will is currently unconscious, if I move carefully, it should not be alerted. I must not wake it up, otherwise, what happened to those two Central Continent GU immortals whose souls were dispersed in the video will happen to me. The vast dark space represents the 88 Truyong Building. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's remnant will was like the sun, in the center emitting a weak light as it slept. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan's will was like a sesame compared to it. He also gave off a weak light, but he was lurking at the furthest corner of the entire area. Fang Yuan continued to inject primeval essence, slowly and carefully. As the primeval essence entered the guest halt steel, the amount of his will that was inside 88 Truyong Building increased. In the dark corner, the light that represented Fang Yuan was expanding, gradually repelling a portion of the darkness, gaining some territory for itself. Time passed second by second. Fang Yuan was very careful, his forehead was soon full of sweat. To think that refining this steel would be so difficult. With my 2 rank 5 peak stage apertures at 90% capacity, it was still not enough. If not for the Heavenly Essence Treasure King Lotus, I might have faced even more trouble. 4 hours passed, Fang Yuan finally breathed out a sigh as he pulled back his palms from the steel. He was extremely tired, mostly from the mental stress, it was more precarious than walking on a tightrope. I finally succeeded. Fang Yuan looked at the guest halt steel before him, a sense of closeness emitted from the steel into the deep parts of his heart. But the joy of success quickly faded, as Fang Yuan frowned even more deeply. There were indeed many deleted scenes in the video that was shown in my previous life. I spent so much primeval essence, but the GU master in the clip was only rank 5 middle stage, yet he did not take any breaks in the middle, only spending an hour to refine it. Maybe the GU master had some assistance GU worms in his aperture, but Fang Yuan was more inclined to believe that there was more than meets the eye. The reason why Central Continent GU Immortals released this video was to deal a crushing blow to the Huangjin tribes, to release the spirit of freedom in other Northern Plains tribes. Deep into the 88 Truyong building, there were definitely gains or methods that could not be publicly shown. At the same time, to make the video more concise and interesting, so that people would watch it, the boring and mundane parts were definitely deleted. That had certainly happened. But this was bad news to Fang Yuan. Refining the 88 Truyong building was a very dangerous act. If he was misled by the video, one mistake would end his life. 88 Truyong building is truly phenomenal. I spent so much time, but I have not even refined 0.5% of it. Fang Yuan sighed as he patted the guest halt steel, standing up. If he looked at 88 Truyong building as 100%, Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's remnant would occupy 30% of it. Out of 100%, after refining the guest halt steel, Fang Yuan's refinement of the building was still less than 0.5%. But even so, Fang Yuan's lips curled into a smile. He turned around, talking a few steps back and casually came to a crystal wall that had sealed some treasures. His gaze concentrated as he stretched out his arm towards the wall. If it was before, the crystal wall would be like an ice wall, blocking his hand. But now, the guest halt steel shone slightly, and the crystal wall turned hollow. Fang Yuan's arm successfully entered the wall like it had gone into a water wall, taking the treasure out from inside. Once he refined the guest halt steel, any treasure inside this section of the crystal wall could be taken out at will. Fang Yuan did not have to pay any price. Oh, this must be the Rush Thunder Stone. Looking at the treasure in his hand, Fang Yuan had to appraise it carefully before confirming his guess. Rush Thunder Stone was quite a rare GU refinement material. It was nearly extinct now. It was very rare even inside Treasure Yellow Heaven, only sold once in a while. This stone was created from the essence of lightning and thunder when the thunder in the 9 heavens exploded together. But ever since the immemorial era, 7 of the 9 heavens fell, only white and black heaven were left. The chances of these 2 heavens thunder and lightning clashing were very low. Thus, after the immemorial era, the production of Rush Thunder stones fell drastically. When Thunderpath was flourishing, large numbers of Rush Thunder stones were used to refine GU. Thus, the remaining stock of Rush Thunder stones now was low. Heaven and earth is ever changing. As time passed, Thunderpath also changed and no longer needed Rush Thunder stones. Only those GU masters or GU immortals who wanted to research immemorial Thunderpath GU worms would be interested in Rush Thunder stones. The value of the treasure room was extremely high. Just a casual treasure that Fang Yuan took was a Rush Thunder stone. But soon after, Fang Yuan returned the Rush Thunder stone back to the crystal wall. Small greed ruins big plans. Because exchange was needed to obtain treasures, the total treasure amount in the crystal walls was always the same. Every item here was recorded by all the super forces, or even large-sized Huangjin tribes. If someone obtained high-grade evaluation and came here later, they would find that treasures were missing. That would lead to great suspicion and shock. Fang Yuan felt no pity. After testing for a while, he walked towards the deeper parts of the crystal path. Arriving at the guest halt steel once again, his footsteps became slower. A few hours ago, the invisible wall that blocked him had vanished. But this did not mean that he could enter safely. 88 Truyong building was created by long-hair ancestor. It obviously had other defensive measures. But Fang Yuan was prepared for them. He willed and at once, 5 to 6 mystical GU worms flew out of his aperture, turning into lumps of colorful smoke as they surrounded him. Fang Yuan checked again, and after ensuring that he was fully covered, he walked past the guest halt steel. Smoke of all colors rumbled as they formed into a flash of blood light, spreading out. Fang Yuan looked around, finding that the treasures in the crystal walls were better than the previous segment by a tier. Oh, this is... Fang Yuan's gaze froze for a second as he saw a rank 5 strength path GU worm inside the crystal wall. He was overjoyed. Chibi General rank 5, strength to climb a cliff GU. Chapter 560 Crucial Problem. Chapter 560, Crucial Problem. Fang Yuan had just taken a step past the guest halt steel and a pleasant surprise welcomed him. A Baro strength GU appeared in front of him. This was a rank 5 strength path GU. It was almost completely extinct and was even more rare than all-out effort GU. It could not be used by itself, but instead had to be used together with other GU worms. When matched with Sky Strength GU, it could allow the GU Master to borrow the strength of the sky. When matched with Earth Strength GU, the GU Master could borrow the strength of the Earth. With Fire Strength GU, it allowed the GU Master to borrow strength from fire. With Water Strength GU, the GU Master could gain strength from water flow. My killer move 4-arm Wind King uses Wind Overlord GU and Tyrant Strength GU. The combination of these two GU was a substitute for Borrow Strength GU, but their effects are not even 50% of Borrow Strength GU. With this Borrow Strength GU, I can raise my killer move to a whole new level. Fang Yuan was truly happy. Of course, Borrow Strength GU still needed to be matched with other GU worms. By now, Sky Strength GU was already extinct. But Earth Strength GU, Fire Strength GU, Water Strength GU, Wind Strength GU and so on were still widely circulated. However, the usage of these GU worms had already sidetracked from their original use. Earth Strength GU was now frequently used to raise the fertility of the soil to help the GU Masters in agriculture, or was used together with Wood Path GU. Fire Strength GU was used by some Fire Path GU Masters as a support GU that could slightly increase the strength of Fire Path GU worms. Water Strength, Wind Strength, Lightning Strength and so on were also used similar. Fang Yuan approached the crystal wall and took out close to 10 Spring Egg GU to exchange for the Borrow Strength GU. Past the guest halt stele, he could only exchange for the treasures he wanted. Fang Yuan continued to walk forward. The treasures in the crystal wall here were clearly a level or two higher than before. Meteor Rain GU, Star Lightning Speed GU, Wind Fog Hair GU, Stellar Fire Prairie GU, Water Curtain Skyflower GU. Rank 5 GU which were extremely rare in the outside world could be seen everywhere here. Instead, it was rank 4 GU that were very rare in here. But any rank 4 GU that appeared here were bound to be very rare and precious among the rank 4 GU, their value and strength comparable to common rank 5 GU. Fang Yuan's gaze swept through the treasures, the blood flame light covering him was wearing down non-stop. This blood flame light was a barrier protecting him. Once it completely disappeared, he would be detected by 88 Truyong building and be eradicated instantly. Before this protection disappears, I need to find that owner token. As time passed, Fang Yuan gradually started to feel anxious. These GU he used to disguise his identity and deceive 88 Truyong building were not easy to refine, moreover the costs in refining them were considerable. One of the main material was 1,000 Jin of Huang Jin family blood which required 98 long steps of purification. Now, Imperial Court contest had already ended, it was even more difficult for Fang Yuan to get these blood in large amounts. What was even worse was a fork actually appeared in this long crystal corridor. Fang Yuan could not help stopping to think about it carefully. Which path was the one he needed to take? At this moment, the image of the Central Continent GU Immortals attacking Imperial Court Blessed Land in the previous life became a great help to Fang Yuan. He chose the left path and moved rapidly through it. Here, the treasures that appeared in the crystal wall were of a level higher in their worth. There were only rank 5 GU with no more rank 4 GU to be found, and at the same time, there were rare rank 5 GU as well. Fang Yuan quickly walked forward while sweeping his gaze over the treasures, suddenly his gaze stopped, found it. An owner token was sealed in the crystal wall, just at the knee height of Fang Yuan. This owner token was the doing of Central Continent GU Immortals. A tall tree attracts the wind. Imperial Court Blessed Land had existed tall till now which had already attracted the attention of GU Immortals of all regions. Central Continent GU Immortals had begun their plan hundreds of years ago. The owner token was generally held by the Alliance leader and would self-destruct once it left Imperial Court Blessed Land. Close to a millennium ago, Central Continent GU Immortals spent a lot of effort to scheme from the dark. Not only did they bribe that time's Alliance leader, it is rumored that they also used an Immortal GU. Using the power of the Immortal GU, they tampered with the owner token which then hid inside 88 Truyong building, becoming a key for the future, waiting for the opportunity to use it. In Fang Yuan's past life, Central Continent GU Immortals first started the 5 regions battle and were able to create the opportunity not long after, finally breaching Imperial Court Blessed Land. Imperial Court Blessed Land was an arrangement set by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Breaching this place was much more difficult than breaching other blessed lands. But Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had already passed away while Central Continent GU Immortals had painstakingly brewed their scheme for close to a millennium, achieving some success in the end. However, in this life, this owner token landed in Fang Yuan's hand. The process of exchanging for this owner token was extremely smooth. But it would not be easy to make the token usable for him. This was the final, crucial step. Fang Yuan's expression turned solemn as he sat cross-legged on the ground and concentrated. GU worms after GU worms moved at his will and struck the owner token non-stop. Ding ding ding. A pleasant music sounded from the collision, and the owner token gradually floated into the air. Every strike would create a layer of halo over the owner token. When it was covered with 38 halo, the dull color on its surface suddenly dispersed and revealed the words, owner token. The halo then started to burst like air bubbles. The owner token lost its buoyancy and fell down, and was immediately caught by Fang Yuan. He quickly bit his finger and let the blood drip onto the owner token. The moment his blood seeped into the owner token, the metallic token suddenly became a translucent glass. Fang Yuan had seen He Lulan's owner token and was able to immediately be aware that there was a great difference between his token and the original owner token. The methods I used just now was in reference to my past life's video, awakening the true appearance of this owner token. It seems this is very possibly the strength of an immortal GU, and also, only immortal GU can tamper with owner token while avoiding the detection of 88 True Yang building. Fang Yuan looked at the glass owner token and sank into contemplation. After a dozen or so breaths, the blood flame light covering him thoroughly dispersed. The world seemed to have gone mute at this moment as Fang Yuan could clearly hear his heartbeats. Safe and sound. The sound of his heartbeats gradually disappeared. Fang Yuan slowly stood up and let out a breath of turbid air. Success, he mumbled while clenching his left fist in excitement, but he found his voice was somewhat hoarse. At the same time, his whole body was soaked with sweat and he felt some dizziness. Truly activating this owner token and making it recognize him was not easy at all. It was even more difficult than refining a rank 5 GU. If there was even a slight mistake, it might have very well been impossible to reprieve. Fang Yuan endured the enormous mental pressure and finally succeeded. Now, as long as I hold the glass owner token, I can freely enter the treasure room. There is no need for any high-grade evaluation. Holding the owner token was equivalent to being in control of a small part of 88 True Yang building. Fang Yuan tested the owner token and almost instantly, He Lulan's group's figures appeared in his mind. After crossing the 54th round, they had already charged to 61st round. Right now, they were having a fierce fight with a golden white tiger phantom. A true golden white tiger was a desolate beast-level existence. The golden white tiger phantom possessed the aura of a desolate beast and was pressing down He Lulan's group. He Lulan had numbers on his side, but their defeat was imminent. Fang Yuan looked closely for a while and inwardly commented, if there is no accident, He Lulan and his group will only be able to last for less than 45 minutes before they have to retreat. I don't have a lot of time. Although Fang Yuan entered the treasure room, as long as the possessor of the owner token walked out of 88 True Yang building, he would also have to leave. Fang Yuan might have the glass owner token now, and could stay or leave according to his will. But it was not good to expose it at present. Just the glass owner token is still far from enough. I still need to find that loophole and completely blow it up. This will create a great hole in 88 True Yang building and I will then be able to freely take away the treasures in the crystal wall. The glass owner token shook slightly, and the next moment, Fang Yuan disappeared on the spot. This should be the central control room. When Fang Yuan opened his eyes, he had arrived at a secret room. The secret room was round with its walls flickering with starlight, and a white jade round table on the center. There was an exquisite model of the whole imperial court blessed land on the round table, just like a military sand table. Not only did it depict mountains and rivers and the sacred palace at the center, even the small towers in the blessed land were clearly visible. Fang Yuan sent out a GU worm which flew to air and turned into black smoke that fell down to the sand table. The sand table was contaminated by the black smoke and rapidly turned into black color. The black color gradually condensed, forming into a large patch of sticky liquid that slowly flowed on the sand table. Fang Yuan looked at a spot where the black liquid had formed a funnel shape and as if there was a hole below, the surrounding black liquid was slowly entering it. Found it, this is that hole. Now, I just need to enlarge this hole and refine the glass owner token into a one-edge owner token. With a one-edge owner token, I can even control a floor of 88 True Yang building at will. Right at this time, Fang Yuan's movements paused as his eyes rigidly stared at the hole on the sand table. The whole sand table was covered by the thick black oil-like sticky liquid, thus Fang Yuan had not been able to see immediately. But now that he had looked for a while, he suddenly discovered this hole was none other than Di Chu inheritance site. What is going on here? Could it be Dichu inheritance is also a concealed move set up by Central Continent GU Immortals before, like the glass owner token? Fang Yuan was shocked, but he quickly calmed down and became aware of the shortcomings to this assumption. No, wrong. If this was a concealed move prepared to breach the Blessed Land, then how do I explain that cipher and the clues from the gray-white stone slab? These clues are clearly the clues to the inheritance. Fang Yuan's eyes flashed with bright light. Right now, the scene in his previous life could not give him any help. Could it be that Central Continent GU Immortals also discovered this inheritance, but they could not decipher the secret phrase and so are using the inheritance this way? No, this is wrong too. Thinking from their side, if they discovered this inheritance which very likely contained an immortal GU, they would definitely be moved. If that is so, then that means that they did not obtain any clues to the inheritance but only discovered this whole. Of course, there is also another possibility that they were not able to decipher the secret of the inheritance, but as breaching the Blessed Land was an important matter, they chose to break this hole in the end. But if so, Dichu inheritance would also be destroyed. Fang Yuan thought of this and that, feeling the existence of these two probabilities. But he did not have conclusive evidence now, so he could not confirm them. He hesitated. In case he used the methods in his previous life's scene and burst open this hole, then Dichu inheritance would definitely be destroyed. But if he did not do so and chose to preserve Dichu inheritance, his plans for 88 Truyong building would stop here. 88 Truyong buildings worth is much higher than Dichu inheritance. This is hopeless, I can only abandon Dichu inheritance. But the person who made this arrangement is really amazing, to actually be able to tamper with Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's arrangement. Wait a second, Fang Yuan's mind suddenly shook as he thought of an extremely crucial problem. Chibi General.